Hello, hello. Noble relaxers. Good to have you here, Alex Denton. Overeducated SP. Hey, Daniel Edwards. Good to have you here. Fantastic to have you here, Cherry Pie 91. Legetu. My man. Man, you never miss a stream. That's insane. How you guys doing? Hi, DFN. Ricky B. Thank you for joining the stream, Susan Rice. David Lopez. Hello. Petit Trianon, you're sleepy? Tell me about it. It's the story of my life. Yeah. Salve, salve. Appreciate that, Tricky Dick Productions. Thank you so much. Andrew Milot, great to have you here then. Long time watcher, first time chatting. That's lovely. Alright, let me put chat in the front for a little bit. Chat in the front. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? Never too Muppet, absolutely. You can never be too Muppet. I 100% agree, 100% agree. First time in the chat? Cool, cool to have you here. Am I gonna play something later, maybe? We usually never start the stream with playing unless it's like a Twitch night. On Twitch I do start playing directly, but here usually we start something else, watch a few videos, got a few tabs, talk about things, and then if we play something, we move on to playing a little later on the stream usually. Release the Kermit. Oh, Kermit is right here. Let me tell you that much. You see the green light? That's in honor of Kermit. Absolutely. We'll get a little Kermit in a little bit. Higashi Martial Arts. Good to have you here, brother. How you doing? Today I actually went to a nice restaurant with the wife. And yeah, no, we got some decent... I got a smash burger, which was great. Loved it. It was really good. All hail to Kermit. Sorry to make you hungry, Loney. Lone, actually. Probably that's how it's pronounced. No idea. No, half the time I've got to guess with you with the names of you guys because the community, man, you're very international, very international. At one point I'll do it, Higashi, absolutely. I mean, with lots of uploads every month, plenty of space. You haven't had a burger in a minute. Yeah, maybe I have a bit too many burgers. I'll have to be a little careful. We'll have to look into that. And glory to Pompey, because David Lopez, glory to Pompey, guys. Always. Always. Yeah, you are all over the place, Petit Trianon. Absolutely. Absolutely. 11:30 over there, Cherry Pie. Where would that be? Are you Europe, I suppose? Let me take a guess. UK, maybe, with that time zone? That would be my guess. The Burgertron or the Meta Burger. I don't know which one is better. England, I thought so, yeah. Because in Italy, it's probably 10:30. I think there is an hour difference between the UK and Italy. That's why, although then again, sometimes I get confused myself, I'll tell you that much. With all the time difference and whatnot. Particularly when I have to do like calls with sponsors, for instance. Sometimes we have to kind of do little workarounds depending on the situation. I'm in the US, Simon. I live in America. It's 12:30 in Italy. Yeah, that's right. So Italy 1 hour later. You're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, sometimes my dad just calls me at the randomest times because I don't think he's still used to the idea of, time zones. And of course he knows, but he can never work it out. And so sometimes he calls me and I'm like, hello? Yeah, it's one of those things, I suppose. What can you say? What can you do? Thank you, Petitrianon. Good to see you as well. Good to see you. And I actually kind of like this image right here. We're not talking about Soma, but it's kind of nice to have the image here. So I'm just going to leave it there. Never pineapple on pizza, guys. Never pineapple on pizza. What can I say? It is not excusable in any way, shape, or form. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. Unfortunately. Saint Nicholas, good to see you. Yeah, Soma, man, I did an entire playthrough. Played it on Twitch. It was like 10 hours it took me. But it was good fun. Yeah, I love Soma. One of my favorite sci-fi experiences ever. Never pineapple on pizza. Oh, pizza on pineapple. I mean, as long as you could, from an instead, you could have a pineapple and then you put the pizza on top, take a couple of pictures, and then eat the pizza separately. I have no problem at that point because I'm very open-minded. So there is that. Pasta and tomato ketchup. Do you want to get blocked? I will enforce the law. It's one of those things. Oh gosh, spaghetti with pineapple. Oh no. No, 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 no. Pineapple on pizza is my favorite. Yeah, I'm sure it's the favorite of Satan as well, among other things. So there is that. How do I have the energy to stream every day? So it does kind of, yeah, I mean, coffee? I'm just trying to figure it out. Yeah, no, I mean, it does get tiring sometimes. Kind of depends on the stream. Some streams are not too bad. Other streams are a little tiring. It kind of depends on what we're doing, to be honest. But as I say, today, a bit more of a relaxed one. So I'm going to be a little chill. I won't be as attempted. I like click a million things. Maybe I won't do that. But yeah, no, why not? It's good. It's good. It's good. It's a good time. It kind of depends, as I say, on the stream. The streams that I find the easiest to do are the gaming streams. They are the easiest ever. So whenever I stream and I'm playing a game, even if I play like 4 hours in a row, it's fine. Like it really doesn't bother me. I think so it really kind of depends on the streams. Today's gonna be a little mixed. I'm gonna engage with chat a little bit. If you've got something you want me to review, I'll review it. Like the other day, someone told me about this stop motion animation video channel and basically what they do is that they take, I don't know, whatever action figures, like here I've got a Darth Vader, for instance. I just unboxed it the other night. So they take an action figure and they animate it. And so they told me about it. I didn't know, checked it out. We ended up watching a couple of videos. It was a good time. So we always have that possibility while we engage with chat. But we're also going to check out a couple of videos because, I did find a couple of videos that I thought would be interesting to check out, and we're gonna just take it from there. And then, as I say, towards the later end of the stream, I might just pick up a game, or we could just play something. So that's gonna be today. But yeah, it kind of depends on the stream, I suppose. Not all streams are created equal. Yeah, that channel was awesome, Faith Forged. Absolutely, I loved that channel. The Animist, yeah, exactly. It was great. I wish he did more Street Fighter related content, because a lot of the animations had to do with series that I wasn't familiar with, and I think it's really good. It really clicks when it's about something that you know or that you're a fan of. But regardless, whatever I did watch was great. How much do I know about my family lineage? I did do some genealogy back in the day. I think I went back a couple of 100 years and then I stopped. Eventually, I'll get back to it. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree, David Lopez. I mean, some streams can be like no plans, let's just see what happens and where it takes us. And other streams can be a little planned and organized with tabs and whatnot. It kind of depends. I don't think every stream nor every video needs to be fully optimized to its maximum potential. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like we're a machine, right? Talo says, all in Italy, what is? Yeah, just let it flow, let it flow. See where it takes us. Why not? Hey, no problem, Lady Jennifer. You got night church soon. Very cool. What do you guys do? Is it like a what church is it? Trailers for the new Onimusha game. Well, I'm definitely adding that one to the tabs. Let me add it to the tabs, and we'll check it later. New Onimusha game trailer. Yeah, we're definitely checking this out later, 100%. Let me have a look. Onimusha Way of the Sword. Ooh, Way of the Sword. Wow. And is it a remake of an older one, maybe? Yeah, we'll definitely check this one out. Man, I remember playing Onimusha back on, was it PlayStation 2? Am I remembering correctly? Am I remembering correctly? I think it was PlayStation 2, right? Sometimes I get confused which one is which, and my memories get... Yeah, PS2, exactly. Yeah, no, I played the original Onimusha, which was pretty good. Then I played the second one, and I remember that I liked the second one very much. Graphically, it was actually very impressive. I think they used some pre-rendered graphic backgrounds with actual low poly characters on top, but it still worked really well. So that was a pretty good trick that they used back in PlayStation era, actually. Yeah, no, so I remember, I never finished Onimusha, but I played them quite extensively. Musha is such a cool word, by the way, in Japanese, because it just means warrior, but it's an older sounding word to the Japanese ear. So it's like they have several words to say warrior. One of the most famous, of course, it's bushi. And then there are plenty of other ways to say it. But Musha, I think, is the most archaic sounding. Senshi, absolutely, yeah. I think Senshi can still be used today, but Musha, it would be, if you used Musha now, it would be like calling an American Marine a warrior. Like, you wouldn't do it. It's a soldier. It's a whatever the heck. But like, it's a like that, but even older to the Japanese. Yeah, exactly. That's the kanji, precisely. It's just like a person of war. That's how you could translate that. Yeah. Degozaru, I would put, if you really want to go classical Japanese. Degozaru would be the instead of des. It's one of the ways to say it. It is the most fun to say. I agree. It's pretty fun, yeah. And of course, Oni being like, sometimes it's translated as demon, but then again, when you say demon in English, it kind of comes with a package, usually in connection to Christianity. So yeah, it's some kind of physical demon. Maybe it's a way to... Sometimes it's translated like some kind of orc, but it's not exactly... Yeah, it's just one of those things. I think it's good to just show it. Thank you, Ray Gonzalez, for gifting 5 Metatron memberships. Man, always top tier contributor to the channel. Appreciate that. Good to have you here, man. Yeah, it's alive, Iris. Good to have you here. I am live Monday to Friday, 5 Central Daylight Time. Occasionally I go live in the weekends, but that's just for gaming. And thank you again for the 6th membership. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. But roll your R's. In Japanese, you don't have to, by the way. You can single tap them, which is fine, and but you don't have to. I've heard Japanese do the very single tap liquid rolled R occasionally. I've heard Japanese not roll the R's at all and make it sound almost like an L. I've ran into both in Japan, and the only time that I've ever heard the Japanese actually roll the R in a way that it would be more similar to how we do it in Italian or Spanish was when I was somewhere. Man, I don't remember where I was, but it was a guy who was mad, and he was like yelling. I think he was drunk, and he said something like "Ora." That sounded a bit like a rolled R. I'm like, yeah, but generally speaking, the Japanese don't really roll their R's if we want to get technical. If that's what you were meaning, perhaps I've just completely misunderstood what you were saying, in which case, hey, it's still fun to talk about. Yeah. 俺がサムライでござるんだ. Sounds a bit anime-like when you add nda. I'm not sure if they would add it to degozaru, but I like adding nda or ndayo when you like you want to finish and give a sort of feel. It's quite informal, but it's, if you're out with friends in Tokyo, for instance, where I used to live there in Japan, yeah, it was kind of muri da yo. 面白いんだよ. Like they do, you can add nda and ndayo to adjectives, for instance. So that's something that I've heard them say, and it's a very easy way to connect it to pretty much whatever you want. So like you want to say it's tanoshii, then you can say tanoshindayo. Kind of makes you sound a bit anime slash a bit Tokyo, I guess. But it's good fun, but don't do it when you're supposed to be formal though. In that case, just drop it. Just drop the da and just go for 面白いです if you need to be polite. In Japan, Japanese doesn't really have that many swear words because you don't really need them. All you need to do is use the wrong conjugation and you'll already be as rude as you can possibly be within their imagination anyways. So it's like one of those situations, The stereotype is that Japanese people can't even pronounce the letter R. Well, to be honest, I've only met a handful that could. Most Japanese can't roll the R, it's true. And another letter that I noticed that it's not that they struggle, it's just that they need instructions. So I remember I was hanging out with some friends after work, and we were playing Street Fighter at my place. They were all Japanese. And I do remember that, like, we were talking about the Japanese characters, and I usually play either Ryu or Ken. And so this friend of mine, he liked playing Sagat, but he would call it Sagatto, because they usually never end anything with a single consonant in Japanese, right? So you never have a word in Japanese that finishes with a T. So they don't. They add to. And so he would say Sagatto. And just to try, I told him, can you actually say Sagat? And he tried and say it, and he did say it well. He said, Sagat. And I said, yeah, good. And he was like, so this go. So yeah, so that happened. So it's not that they're not capable of, it's just that they never learn it. They just look at the katakana rendering of whatever foreign language that it is, and then they think that that's the way you say it. But then if you tell them, I noticed that they can do it. The one thing that they seem to not be able to do well, depending, is the R and French. Oh, have you ever heard French but read in katakana? It's impossible to understand. It's like the word Italian, my language, they do mess it up a bit, but it's not too bad actually. The way Japanese pronounce Italian is not bad. I'll give them that. Like if you compare it to other foreigners, I have to say the Japanese are actually pretty good. And it's probably because both Italian and Japanese have this thing in common that most words will end in a vowel. And so it's the same with my language. And so that kind of gives them a little bit, they still have an accent, of course, but, it gives them a little bit of an advantage. But French, oh my gosh, you try and speak French to a Japanese, mamma mia. Yeah, no, it's an experience, let me tell you that much. Rarirurero on their own are pronounced completely different to when they part. Yeah, you're right, Paragon. Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard people say la, li, ru, le, lo, and it sounds almost like an L, and people then it was a little closer to the Anglophone R a little bit, or sometimes with a single tap, la, la. But yeah, I've heard people pronounce that several different ways. Yeah. And also, for some reasons, I don't know. Well, my name being Raffaello, so the name of the painter, right? Because, of course, my mom didn't name me Metatron. Raffaello is my actual name, like the Ninja Turtle or the painter. And I remember that when I was in Japan, people would pronounce it Raffaello. So they don't do the doubles, double F and double L. Raffaello. But that's because it's a famous name. So it's the name of the painter. That's how the painter is transliterated in their language. And so they just went for Raffaello. That's how they say it. But then occasionally I did tell them Raffaello, but I understand that the double F and double L might be difficult. So I just ran with it. I was like, hi, Raffaello des. Who cares? I mean, at the end of the day, it's like close enough. Close enough. Yeah, believe it or not, I'm going to get a little technical here, this section, but Raffaello is a different name. It's Raphael, the one that ends with an L, that is more common in either English or Spanish or Portuguese. But the Italian one, Raffaello, they transliterate it as Raffaello. So they maintain, that's how, for instance, the Ninja Turtle is transliterated. So Raffaello and Raffaello are two separate names in Japanese. Interestingly enough. The only reason why I know that is because it's my name. So I've already gone through the whole thing. Exactly, yeah. Raffaello, exactly like David Lopez just wrote it. And it's interesting, yeah. So it was just one of those things, I guess. Yeah. And by the way, my name is actually not common in Italy at all because it's a Renaissance name. It's an old school name. The more common name that has the same root in Italy now is Raffaele. Single L ends with an E, Raffaele. Lot of people are called Raffaele, but very few are called Raffaello because it's considered a bit of an old-sounding name. So I have an older name, basically. So, and it's, you know how many times I had to spell it? Like even in Italy, I was like, imagine in Italy you have this, let me tell you this. So in Italy you have, particularly in the south, but in general, you have big buildings. So you enter, you want to go visit your mate, and then there is a concierge, because you have a custodian. So you enter, and then they ask you, what do you need? Yeah, Raffaello Sanzio, exactly. And so you would tell them, oh, I'm here to visit Giovanni, Michele, whatever the heck, Giuseppe. And so they say, okay, what's your name? Come ti chiami? And I would say, Raffaello. And every time, punctually, my whole freaking life, they pick up the thing and say, Raffaele is here. And I'm like, you mother... I couldn't spell it. So I actually started, it became a joke. It became a meme. I was like, who is here? Raffaello. Like literally, I had to spell it out in a way, and it would still fail. But like, Raffaele is here, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe it. But yeah, I guess it's because it's not common. As I say, you can ask an Italian, it's not common. But yeah, no, that happened. It used to be, particularly when I was a teenager, it used to bother me so much. As an adult, you're like, whatever. But as a teenager, ooh, the many times I had to go like, Raffaello. The number of times I had to do that. It was insane. And it was like, yeah, Raffaele is here. Oh my God. What can I say? It's one of those things. Hello. Number ones. Good to have it. Where is the stream even going? But yeah, so that's the situation. That's the situation, yeah. I mean, it still happens with Metatron. It's not like I chose a better one. You know how many people call me Megatron? The one from the Transformers? And I'm like, it's literally written. Sometimes when it's written, I like they will comment under my video and they will say, Megatron, I love your channel. And I'm like, did you even look? It's written there. Did you even look? So I suppose it's just my curse. No matter what name I choose, there will be a slightly more common version of the name with a different spelling that people will just use. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, they're both coming from the archangel name, both of them, because of course the root is the Hebrew Raphael. So that would be which is like El heals, and El, it's the same root as Elohim, so, or Eloah, so it would be what we generally translate as God. And so, yeah, God heals could be a translation of Raphael. But yeah, both names come from the same root. It's just that, as I say, Raffaello is a bit more on the medieval side. But at the end, and since we are saying this, I'm gonna complain about one thing now, because I'm gonna complain about it, and I'm probably the only one who even ever noticed it. But I am gonna complain about it, and it is what it is. I mean, you clicked, I bitch a lot, so I guess welcome to whatever you clicked for. So let me tell you this thing. Please give me. I can't even look at this 1987. Just give me a little eye candy, thank you. Anyways, so let's review the names of these 4 Muppets, shall we? We have got Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, Raphael. Why on earth were the other 3 names left with the original Italian spelling, but not mine? Like literally, what? Raffaello, like Donatello. So why is he not Donatel? I mean, why? I don't get it. Leonard. No, only mine had to be the one that is like, I don't know. Maybe the kids won't get it, so let's just simplify it. Oh, that pisses me off once again. It's like, what? It is Leonardo, but even in, Leonardo da Vinci, right? Leonardo da Vinci. I get it that some people pronounce it Leonardo because, of course, they anglicize it. Fine. Not a problem. I mean, we Italians butcher every language we try to speak that isn't ours, so I'm not going to complain. But I will complain for the double standard, because then this purple Muppet should be called Donatel. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Thank you, Ray. I get you, man. Every time I go somewhere and I get asked my name, everyone writes my name as Ray. Oh, I see. Yeah, because I get it. Yeah. I mean, at least in Italy they wouldn't, but you know how they would misspell it in Italy? They would write it R-E-I. Because the Y is basically not part of the Italian alphabet ever. We only use it for foreign words. So basically, because the Italian alphabet only has 21 letters, we don't have Ks, we don't have Ys, we don't have plenty of letters like that, and so that's how they would misspell it in Italy. But at least they would keep, yeah, exactly. That's how if you tell an Italian whose name is Ray, that's how they would spell it if they don't know. that's what would happen. Yeah, soppressata, I wouldn't mind. The other day I actually went to Subway and I had a BMT with chipotle mayo, and man, that was good. Yeah, sometimes they say Mikey and Raf. Raf is fine. I mean, sure. To be fair, Raffaello is such a long name that not even my mother bothered. she would just say Raf, Raffi, Raffo, Raffa. A couple of times she just called me Ra, when I'm like literally just one syllable. Why did you even give me the name at this point? But I can't complain because it's the name of the Egyptian god, so I'll take it. But yeah, and Donnie, you're right. Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. If they all get Leo, I guess you can do that. So that's cool. But yeah, no, we don't have K's and Y's, and we don't have... What else are we missing? W's, although then again, I guess the W is used for foreign words, once again, but there is no Italian word that uses the W that I'm aware of. They're all of foreign origin. We don't have K because we spell it CH. So I know in Spanish, usually CH is pronounced like a ch, but in Italian, CH is pronounced like a K. It's like a rule. And that's a very easy rule, in fact. If you learn that single rule and how to pronounce GL and GN, then you can pretty much guess any Italian pronunciation. And it's pretty simple. Italian is not difficult. We don't have a J. No, we don't have a J that I can think of right now. Yeah, we do have Q's. We use them for all the like where, when, why. We use Q's for those. So the Q is part of the alphabet. Yeah. Yeah. A bit like you would pronounce chemistry or yeah, exactly. Pretty much. It's basically like that, but for the entire alphabet with no exceptions. So every time you see CH, you can be 100% is going to be a K sound in Italian. There isn't even a single exception. Unless it's a foreign word, once again. Isn't G the Italian J? Yes, but only when followed by I or E. So it depends on the vowel that follows it. But yeah, pretty much. Polish doesn't use V as far as you know? Yeah, I haven't got a clue about Polish. Why not just put a K? You know, tricky. People have said it a few times. At this point, it's just tradition. Because, I mean, every Italian can read it. It's not like we struggle reading it. It's a rule that works. It's consistent. And they totally could. And people do, you know, when people do it, when they text messages. In text messages, people will swap a CH for a K. This began as a thing in the 90s when you were paying €1 per message because text messages, you had to pay. So, you know, you had a limited amount of characters. You remember that? With a Nokia. And so people started doing that instead of writing 4, which is, which is per, they would put an X. Like there were special ways to do that. And so K became popular in text messaging in Italy in the 90s. And I think some people still do it now just because it's faster, but not everyone does it. Yeah. But I think it's just one of those things where the tradition stayed how it was. And since it works, they don't change it. Yeah. Do I play card games? Not that often. I think the last card game I played was Magic the Gathering, but I only played it a little bit with a wife, and I'm talking when we were dating. So this is like 5 years ago. I haven't played card games in a while. Thank you so much, Dark Wolke, for subscribing on Twitch. Very much appreciated. In Japan, I just go with matto as opposed to mashu. It is just easier for some reason. But to say what? I don't know if you were talking... I don't know what you were talking about. Yeah. Oh, your name. Okay, I see. But what is your name in what is your actual name? How would it be? Glory to Caesar. Yeah, always. The Metatron. Matthew, I see. Yeah, maybe Matto is better. Matthew. Yeah, it's a difficult one because they don't have a TH. Neither do we in Italian, by the way. Usually Japanese change it into an S when it's at the end. So Smith is transliterated into Sumis. So Smith. So they'll put an S when it's at the end. How would they transliterate Matthew? Yeah, probably. Would it be Matthew? I don't actually know. I think Matto is the best thing to do in that case. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. At the end of the day, you just want to make it easier for them to pronounce because they're not used to those sounds. It is the other side of the world, isn't it? Yes, Smith-san, like in every Japanese textbook. Yeah, there is always a Smith-san wa Tokyo ni sunde-imasu. Smith-san wa sugoi hito desu. America jin desu. Like it's like the typical. We have all done it. If you are students of Japanese, you've all done it. It's just one of those things, isn't it? I think they use it depends on the word, as I say. At the end of the word, it's a su, just like David Lopez showed here. So it kind of depends. Kore ga pen desu. The one sentence I never used in 4 years of Japan. Like, could you imagine a scenario in which I have to say, kore wa sumaho desu. Kore wa headphone desu. Kore wa mizu desu. Kore wa memory card desu. Like, when am I going to be in a situation where I need to explain the obvious? It never happened. Kore wa pen desu. I can imagine what kind of conversation. Like, imagine the other person on the other side. Hai, so desu. Ha. And then what? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So yeah, I understand that they do it because they want you to learn the grammar structure, but maybe it would be better to say something that could actually occur on a conversation, such as, I don't know, I need to think of something now, but like, this is my book as opposed to your book, or this is my phone. Like, put a little possessive, like, because honestly, just letting someone know that a pen is a pen is a little bit of a futile exercise in my mind. As I say, I never did it. 4 years in Japan, and trust me, I spoke Japanese every single day. In Japan, I wasn't one of those people that hang out with Italian or with foreigners to speak English. Never. I was there to learn Japanese, and so that's what I did. I maxed it out, and I swear I never said kore wa koppu desu. Kore wa So yeah, no, that's one of the things. But let me, since we are talking about これは何ですか? Yeah, that's another one. Oh my gosh, yeah, you're giving me like university flashback. Literally, that's what the teacher was saying. Given first year student, but I do remember the teacher going, これは何ですか? And then the class, それはチョコレートです。はい、これはチョコレートです。ありがとうございます。どういたしまして。I get it. You gotta start. But I still say keep it simple but relevant is what I was doing when I was a teacher. I was always trying to, teach something that people can actually use. Yeah, so, bingo, she's a lawyer, is he? David Lopez. Smith-san wa bengoshi desu. I would still put a wa there. Talking about that, since we're talking a little bit Japanese, if you put, you don't have to put, when you study it at university, you learn how to place every single particle correctly. Wa, ga, oh my gosh, ga, o, and all of those, right? And then you go to Japan and half the population doesn't even bother. But it's still more correct to place the particles, so it's just my teacher's nature. Whenever I see a particle missing, I'm still saying, これは、Smitsu-san wa. Like, I want to remind people, but then again, the Japanese don't care. It's funny, though, is where I actually started imitating them a little bit in informal scenarios. And you know what happened? That the Japanese skip every particle ever, which has a grammar function. The moment I did it, then would correct me. I'm like, hold on a minute. What? Yeah, ka is the question, exactly, yeah. What's funny about ka is that, yeah, in formal speech is necessary grammatically. So you have to say, 日本人ですか? You have to put ka. Just rising the intonation with des is not sufficient. But if you're speaking informally, you don't need to do it. You could just say, イタリア人? And just, so, are you Italian or 日本人? And just raise your intonation, and then it's a question. Believe it or not, if you add the ka when you're speaking informally, it makes it stronger, which is why you hear it in anime a lot. If you say, イタリア人か? It's like, so you're Italian, are you, kinda? But it sounds a little bit gangstery, a little bit. So believe it or not, I would actually skip ka if you're speaking informally. But always place it when you're speaking formally. Man, I feel like I'm a teacher again. Aiue o, kakikuke ko, sashisuse so. Yeah, I've done all of those. Sure. What's the difference between ka and no? So no is the possessive usually. So watashi no hon desu, my book. But I think since you're asking me in this case, you're telling me when you place no at the end during a question, right? So instead of saying, again, 日本人ですか? Like 日本人, yeah, I'm trying to think of an example, but yeah, sometimes they do finish questions with no. It's informal and a little feminine. It's a little feminine sounding and informal if you just finish it with no. So na no, like when they do that, instead of so nan desu ka, it's a little informal and slightly feminine sounding. Yeah, doko ni iru no, it kind of sounds like your girlfriend, a little bit. And then if you say doko ni iru kai, and you do kai instead of ka, makes you sound like a boyfriend. Japanese is so specific. That's why it takes so long. Nani o suru no? Yeah, it's informal and a little feminine. So yeah, that's that situation. Yeah. Ka can be used as or. Yeah, if you put it in the middle. Absolutely, yeah, you're correct. You would hate to sound feminine? Well, then don't use it. It is very interesting. Yeah, it's a fun language. It takes a while, but once you do gain fluency in Japanese, it's actually fun that you can say the exact same thing 15 different ways, and each of those has a different flavor depending on what particles you use and add. And that's really the most fun thing about Japanese, how you can customize it. That's the thing that I enjoy the most. But it did take a few years, let me tell you that much. Yeah. Yeah. Languages are really fun, I agree. Instagram. Do you have Instagram? Yeah. Instagram. Oh my gosh. Yeah, have you ever heard them say McDonaldo to say McDonald's? Well, sometimes they just say Mac. It depends. But hey, that's fine. Again, in Italy, we butcher that as well. It's not like we get it right. In Italy, people just say McDonald's or sometimes McDonald. That's how they say it in Italy. Andiamo da McDonald. Shall we go to McDonald's? That's how you say. Andiamo da McDonald. That's how you say it in Italy. Ginko ni ikimasu. So you're going to the bank. Yeah. Good for you. Ginko ni ikimasu. Yeah. Yeah, DH. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. Not gonna be today's stream though. Well, I think kanji is necessary to learn unless you are just interested in speaking. But then again, even when you speak, sometimes it's good to still have an. I'm not saying you need to learn 2,000 kanji, but maybe just learn a few hundreds just to have an idea. Because the Japanese often, it's just such a part of their language and culture that sometimes when they tell you something and you're like, what do you mean? What does that word mean? They will draw it in the air because they assume you know the kanji. And so for some kanji, it's actually good to at least have a little bit. I'm not saying don't go nuts like me and learn 2,000. I'm saying maybe learn a few hundred so you can also text message with them a little bit. Yeah. I do say it is what it is a lot, don't I, Tonna? Thank you for letting me know. I know that I do that, but sometimes... Oh, yeah, don't worry. Yeah, of course. What's your opinion on the Rorby swords? I'll have to check them. And I'll check the other super chats, of course. But let me just open a tab. So... I'm not aware of these swords, by the way, so... Bronze Age, is it? Alright, we'll check them out for sure. Alright, let me double check for other super chats. I don't want to be disrespectful to people. No, I think I read everything. Holy shit, Kurt, says Kurt. Appreciate that. Oh yeah, sorry, Daniel. Sometime is past and we saw now you react to Evo Moment 31 and also a video in Invicta channel about the most remote Roman outpost. Interesting. Yeah, the one about Invicta could be interesting to check out. If this is the ones where you have the fighting between the Street Fighter characters, I can't. They get demonetized. So I'm not gonna let the stream get demonetized. I can't do that. Why did I learn Chinese? I thought it was fascinating. So, and since I was specializing at university in East Asian languages, and I had extra 16 credits, and they said I could pick up. I was focusing on Japanese, but then they said you can select another language if you want, and for the exams for those 16 credits. And I said, hey, I'll do Mandarin, and yeah. So it's my minor. It wasn't a major; it was a minor. Yeah, Tico Torres, 2,000 is the minimum, the bare minimum for alphabetization. So like the ability to read and write everyday Japanese, you need at least 2,000 characters. And if you start reading academic works, you'll need more. In my experience, just to tell you a lived experience though, when I reached 1,000, I could already read emails and text with Japanese pretty naturally. I don't know any Cantonese, no. Sorry. Yeah, when I hit the 1,000 is when I was like, yeah, I can text, no problem. Why? Because generally it's not like, I mean, there is a certain repertoire of words that you need for texting in everyday social occurrences. It's not like they're going to have like you're trying to figure out where to meet and they're going to start telling you about astronomy. So it's like, yeah, 1,000 is plenty for doing that. Maybe even a little less than that. On Etsy, Austin Bailey. Ooh, I mean, wow. Seriously. Well, let's have a look at these swords. So, what have we got? I don't know the context. Man, with this round... Oh, that's so strange. So, for what I can see, single-handed. So, this is a one-handed sword from 1600 BC. What culture is this? Is it Nordic? Yeah, Denmark. I thought so immediately. When I saw it, I thought of Nordic. Honestly, even without the context. This is so strange. Don't you dare say ceremonial, by the way. I don't want to hear it. Okay, let's just say we don't know. If we don't know, we don't know. Let's not use ceremonial. Oh, that's the Etsy. I gotta say, it's pretty good. I mean, look at that. That looks like a pretty well-made repro, if you ask me. What material is it made of? I guess the original 1600, it's going to be bronze. Copper alloy, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I wonder what it is, because clearly you can't stab with these, but then again, it would still be unpleasant if this part is sharp and you stick it to the face of someone. I guess it's still going to cut. But clearly, I wonder, this is such a strange decision, isn't it? I wonder if it's to show off your smithing abilities, like as a gift to someone important, to be like, look what I've got, because those do exist. They're not ceremonial, they are flexing. They do exist as well. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be hit by one. Of course, again, single-handed doesn't seem to be particularly long, but then again, if bronze is the medium, that's also one of the reasons. I mean, it's not easy to, that's why iron was a great choice, because you could make longer blades that were more sustainable, because if you make a very long blade with bronze, it could break more easily. So it's not impossible, but it's not the best material to do that. It could be like a fashion statement. Yeah, it could be absolutely, definitely eye-catching. I mean, if someone sees that, they'd be like, whoa, definitely. National Museum of Denmark. Man, be nice to visit all Nordic countries, to be honest, but in general. I'm curious about the Etsy one. Who made it? Who made the Etsy one? They want $500. Okay. Right. And what material? Oh, it's kind of yellow. Maybe, did they do it in... Oh, maybe it is a bronze, actually. Yeah, this is definitely a bronze. This looks nice, actually. Made by Viking bronze. We'll have to check the... looks like he knows what he's doing, though, just by looking at it like this. Man, why did you have to tell me that this exists? Now I'm tempted. Now I'm tempted. Anyways, I'm not going to stay on the website just in case the, location information pops up. I don't want to mess with that, but that looks pretty good. So let me see if I can find, like, for instance, they tell us a little bit about it here. In 1952, Thorvald Nielsen was dredging a ditch in a small bog at, I don't know how you read it, guys, Rørby, in Western Zealand. He found an ornamented curved sword of bronze, yeah, I thought so, that had been stuck diagonally into the turf. The sword was from the beginning of the Bronze Age, around 1600 BC, and was the first of its kind to be found in Denmark. In 1957, when Thorvald Jensen was digging up potatoes around the same place, he uncovered yet another curved sword. Ooh, can you imagine that? The second curved sword was ornamented like the first, but it was also decorated with a picture of a ship. Huh. This is the oldest example of a ship image from Denmark. Fascinating stuff. Man, this looks great. And it's one of those, I wonder what type of bronze this is, because the fact that it looks so brownish, rather than having a full-on green patina like the ones that I have here, actually has to do with the constituents in the bronze, and also the percentages. Because bronze, usually when we imagine bronze in our day and age, we think of a kind of a reddish brown, but in reality, maybe statue bronze would be like that in classical period, but a lot of bronze can look golden, like a dull golden color, and that's also how it's described in literature sometimes. I think when it comes to classical antiquity, helmets and weapons, that should be the default in our imagination, unless it's specified differently otherwise. But as I say, it really depends on what you put inside the bronze, and then you will have different chromatic varieties. It's just how it is. Yeah. I bet Shad knows all about this sword. Maybe. I'll have to ask him if he has ever studied this one in particular. Everyone super chat so you can buy one. Yeah, that's the bronze sword. The bronze sword budget. Hey Dan the Jedi, good to see you here. Thank you very much for stopping by. Looks like kind of hook. It does have a bit of a hook. Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Now, I don't know if this will be practical, because, of course, the first thing the imagination goes into, maybe they used it to hook like a spear and then move it around and that kind of stuff, or a hook a shield, for instance, but I don't know. That could just be our imagination, but in reality, no, it has other reasons. Thank you, Lord Visa. Hi Metatron, I've been watching you since last year. I have a question. Do you have a particular opinion on Christopher Columbus? Yeah, I think Christopher Columbus was an awesome navigator, and it's an interesting story to study. I've been to what the Italian government says that was his house in Genova, because do remember that he was Italian, not Spanish. And so many times people tell me he's from Spain, right? No, he's from Italy, for crying out loud. But then again, he was a man of his time. So if you compare it to today, then of course you're going to find areas that you're like, yeah, but he did this, he did that. Sure, but we have to kind of look at it in its time. Otherwise, every person in period, we're going to be like, but yeah, Genova, exactly, yeah. So no, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, if we review every single detail, then yes, there will be. You can easily bring up something and tell me, but he did this, and I'll tell you, yeah, that's horrible. Fine, but I'm just trying to look at the person within its context. And so he was a talented navigator, an explorer. So that is that, and yeah. Genova, yeah. They make phenomenal focaccia in Genova. I don't know if you knew that, because everyone is familiar with the Genoese pesto, right? But I don't think or in general, people who are not Italian know that actually Genova is also very famous for focaccia. They make incredible focaccia. Incredible. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about very quickly. Because you know that we always have to speak a little bit about food, just a little bit. Right? Yeah, so if you go to Genova, try the pesto, whatever, but you also gotta try, like you go to any bakery and you just ask for focaccia, and they have lots of different versions. And in my experience, Genova has the highest number of different types of focaccia that I've ever seen in any Italian region. Puglia is also pretty good when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I have to say, the focaccia, it's like people in Genova really know what they're doing. Thank you, Herpy Derpy, for becoming a member of the channel. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much. And by the way, with the new members, 6 from the gifted memberships, thanks again, Ray, and this one, that's 7. We started the stream at 665. So now we are at 672 or 73. I think we'll hit 700 soon. I promised someone in chat that if we hit 700, the following stream, I'm going to have a single braid and I'll put the Vegas mask. I'll braid my hair and put Vegas mask, not for the entire stream because it's going to hurt, but I will do that. I promised it, so I'm going to do it. Man, I can get a really long braid, or plait if you prefer. Yeah. Focaccia with strawberry. I've never heard of that because, I mean, it's a savory thing. So I personally wouldn't want it with strawberry, but hey, you do you. True, Leonidas Sparta, good to see you, by the way. Man, seems like a couple of weeks ago you just hit 300. Yeah, a lot of people are subscribing to members. There we go. One more. Thank you, OG Kaz, for gifting a Metatron membership. Very much appreciated. And yeah, a lot of people are subscribing and becoming members. So, actually becoming members. And that's nice because it counteracts the fact that instead YouTube keeps removing subscribers. For some reasons, in the last week only, I lost 600 subscribers. And, of course, 600 out of 984,000 is not huge, but it's still like, why the heck? Now, I get it. Some of those were intentional because, the usual person that once disagrees with one of my takes and they have to say, I can't believe you said that, unsubscribe, and they have to let everyone know as if it was a freaking airport and you need to let everyone know you're leaving. I mean, I've never done that in my life. Have I disagreed with YouTubers that I watched? Of course, but unless they say something absolutely disgusting, who cares? I mean, I disagree, said something I don't agree with. Not to mention, like, for instance, during yesterday's stream, the first thing I said was, here is my opinion. I'm going to share my opinions. But if you know better than me, I'm here to learn from you. Well, apparently that was enough for me to be called a grifter and a radical, and some people in the comments were like, unsubscribe, this is disgusting, and I'm like, bye, bitch. I mean, whatever. I mean, at that point, good. If, that kind of person who has zero tolerance. So let me get this straight. You agreed with me every single time, but now once it's... Okay, whatever. And so anyway, that's because I wanted to be transparent and say I'm aware that some people did choose to unsubscribe because I dared to share my opinion on my platform. But regardless of that, there are also plenty of, I think a few hundred people were actually unsubscribed from this because of this system, not because they actually chose that I will not support this monster anymore. So yeah, that happened. Of course, I'm trolling because I laugh at people like that. It's like, whatever, man. What can I tell you? If I am radical, then I would say I wish at this point, for how kind of sensible and moderate I always try to be, and I'm not hateful and that kind of stuff, I wish that every person who is actually radicalized was like me. The world would be, not that I'm like the big shot super guy, but I am very relaxed. I'm very calm. I'm like, oh, you disagree with me? Okay. Want to get a coffee? Like, that's me. But then again, apparently it's too much for some people to handle because, yeah, it's talking common sense. Unsubscribe, man. I think it has become an oxymoron these days. Common sense is not common anymore. That's the reality. Type B personality, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, it's just one of those things. What can I tell you? Greetings, Muppet, says Valentine. Maybe talking about Muppets is too much for some people to handle. And, it's just one of those things. What can I tell you? Unfortunately, on this channel, Muppets will always be part of it. So it's just one of those things, I guess. If I have to lose 1,000 subs because of Muppets, I'll lose 1,000 subs. But for those who stay, it's always nice to have you here. As always, I am grateful. I don't want you to think that I'm not grateful for the people who subscribe, and whether you agree, disagree, but you're still being decent about it. I know that this wonderful job that I have is thanks to you, and I'm very grateful. It's just that, I don't know, it's just people get offended over everything these days, and it's just one of those situations, I guess. But yeah. Same, Tinned Kappa. I'm the same. I enjoy listening to various people. The only times that I disagree, I unsubscribe, is either there is like some kind of crazy scandal, or they really cross a line that I'm like, ooh, no, that's... those are the only times, really. The metagrift of the Griftatron. Actually, Griftatron sounds much better. I would go for Griftatron, to be honest. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just one of those things. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, let me double check. Let me see. That's still significant. Yeah, losing a few hundred. Yeah, it's annoying. Could be to do the recent lean towards streaming and reaction content. Maybe a different crowd. No, the problem is that the reality, and I tell you this as someone who's been a content creator for 12 years, now on multiple platforms. If you try and follow the path of I don't want to offend anyone, you'll explode. You'll literally have a mental breakdown. And it doesn't matter what you decide to talk about. Now, given there are some topics that are more controversial, and if you are not careful how you address them, then yes, they could create more backlash. Sure, but then the reality is that everything will offend people. Like at one point, even earlier on in my career, when I was just speaking about, like, maybe I was speaking about martial arts and ancient feudal Japan, even the way I would pronounce Japanese things would piss people off. So like, I didn't know what to do, because at one point I was like, all right, let's talk about, and then I said kendo, because that's how I learned it. I practiced kendo in Japan. I speak Japanese, so I try to pronounce it correctly. And I said kendo. And then people were offended. Oh, it's so obnoxious and condescending. Why don't you say it normal? Okay. So the following stream, I said, guys, so today we're going to talk about kendo. And then I got people are like, and you said you know Japanese? You're a liar. Just speak it, pronounce it properly. So it's impossible. So at the end of the day, what I decided to do is that I'll just say however the heck I want, and then I'll roll a die and we'll see who gets offended, and I'll just ignore them, because it really is impossible. Like, it doesn't matter how you do it. People, even when I try to just stick to history, then people started commenting my appearance. They were like, "Why do you have that long hair, bro? What are you trying to do?" So like, it's just one of those things. Like, it doesn't matter. Then people will start criticizing the vocabulary you use. Why are you using this word? Who do you think you are? So then you make it easier, and then they'll criticize and say like, "Oh, you said you went to university." Like, there is no way. And at the end of the day, I decided that the one thing I will never do is bend the knee to the mob, to the cancel mob, because if they own you once, they'll own your content for the rest of your life. So what I do is that, okay, I want to do a little React, I'll do a little React. I want to stick next week to just core vanilla content, I'll do it. The following week, I want to talk about something that's completely unrelated, I'll do it. And at the end of the day, I have to think that the majority of the people watching, I know that the core audience watches everything, and I appreciate that. There are other people that are normal, so maybe you're not interested in that specific video that day, you skip the video. Fine. And then I know that it will be a vocal minority of people that are perpetually offended. I don't care. At that point, I don't care. Who cares? I don't even look into it. I don't look, particularly the ones that do the threat. And I just got one the other day. That said, if you make another video like this, I'll unsubscribe. Great. I'll block them. I'll do it for you. At that point, I'll block you, so it doesn't matter. And because, it's like they're trying to control what they shouldn't have access to, which is what I choose to talk about. And instead, so I ignore those, and instead I listen to the good people that are like, "Hey, Metatron, do you think you could make a video on this? And if it's a nice idea, I'll do it." And that's that. So I take the positive advice, I listen to the constructive criticism, and whenever someone is offended, I ignore them. I appreciate that, overeducated SP. Thank you so much. Ray Gonzalez, haters are gonna hate. You're absolutely right. Some people are like that. And Metatron, has Filippo Biondi agreed to be on? I would be interested in hearing him and you. No, not yet. I don't know if he saw my response. So I'll have to see if there is another way to contact him directly outside of YouTube. And then, I'll tell him if he wants to come over and we can have a little live stream, and then he can answer some questions from the audience. We'll prepare it. I'll make a post and see if you guys have questions. Some could be technical. I will call him out on a few things, particularly in connection with the other two, and ask him directly, do you think it was aliens? I'm going to ask him directly, like I will, so that at that point, stand for what you believe. If that's what you believe, say it. If instead, if he doesn't, then it's his opportunity to get a little distance from the other two and actually say, I know whatever they believe, I don't care, I'm just looking at the technical stuff, and at least I'll give him an opportunity. I'll do the same with any other guests that I have. I'll always want guests to feel welcome here, so you'll never see me to be overly aggressive, even if it's a guest that I completely disagree with. I would still want them to feel like it was a nice experience. I don't try to film gotcha on people. With that being said, though, I will challenge there, because I want people to stand for what they believe. If you believe something, then you gotta say it. Or you can choose not to answer the question. In that case, I won't press. But silence is an answer as well. Anyways, I will let him know that if he wants to come here, I will ask some question. I'll try to send him the questions beforehand so he can prepare. But then what I will say is that it could be good for him to come here because he's not fluent in English. Then we will conduct the interview in English, but at any time, if he needs to, he can switch to Italian and I'll translate happily. If it's easier for him to convey a certain message and he wants to make sure that one is crystal clear, he can always do that, and I'll be more than happy to switch. Maybe I'll only ask him to not keep speaking Italian for an extended period of time, because it could be a little tiring for the audience if they don't understand Italian, but I will more than happily do that if he needs that. Your window blinds are ugly. Unsubbed. Yeah. I love the statement where they need to let everyone know. And that's another thing, by the way. I did tell you that very rarely I have unsubscribed from channels. I do it quietly. I don't need to what am I trying to do? Do I have to punish someone and let them know That because the universe revolves around me, you may have 5 million subs, but now you don't have me. It's like, who cares? Like, I thought I liked the content creator. Maybe I don't anymore. I quietly unsubscribe and get on with my life. Does the phone work? Yeah, it does, actually. All my retro tech works, by the way. I keep everything in pristine conditions, my friend. So, yeah. I agree, Tinder. Yeah, I cannot say that we were never visited by an intelligent alien civilization. I don't currently believe that that's the case, simply because of the, I haven't been provided with evidence that is sufficient for me to be like, you know what, that's what happened. But that could change. If more evidence is presented and it's high quality evidence, then it would be, yeah, sure, I'm always open to the possibility, because I can't falsify it. Because I wasn't here 500,000 years ago, and there isn't enough data to be able to completely remove it from the... I mean, I don't know. Mathematically, I do believe that it's possible that there are... In fact, I lean towards the idea that there are other intelligent civilizations out there. But I don't know if there is any right now, for instance. And also, I don't know if they have some kind of tech that it's even impossible for us to understand, that allows them to... bridge the distances that to us are impossible. Then again, just because they're impossible to us, it doesn't mean that they would be impossible to another civilization that has got, like, for instance, a 20,000 years head start on us. I mean, if you look at the technology we have today, it would have been absolutely impossible to an ancient Roman. That doesn't mean that it is impossible. It just was impossible for their scientific understanding. And so I'm in no position to say what's possible or impossible for someone, including our own species, by the way, but a few thousand years in the future. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, the Fermi paradox. Yeah, fascinating, by the way. I know I use that word a lot. I'm not planning on shaving my head, no. Did ancient Rome have fast food? Yes, actually, they did. Particularly in the city of Rome, it's documented. So basically you had these, like, a bit like a canteen, not really a canteen, like a little tavern where you would enter and order food that was already warm inside these containers, and then they would remove a lid, give you some food, and then you would eat it standing. So yeah, it's fast food. Ancient Rome did have fast food, absolutely. It is a deep rabbit hole, Tinder, yeah. Pompeii too, and also Pompeii had some wine production, and we still have... I actually watched an episode, a documentary that showed that in Pompeii they found this villa that quite a few people died in the villa during the eruption of the Vesuvius. But due to the fact that it was filled with pumice and whatnot, it was actually well preserved because of that. And so they noticed that in this villa they had their own gymnasium, they had their own hot baths, like private, and a lot of villas had those, so you could invite your friends and then you have your own private hot bath, terme. But then they also had their own production of wine, and interestingly enough, when they uncovered the amphorae, they could still smell the wine. So literally the smell was still there. Like, and I wish I could have done that. Like, could you imagine actually smell wine from ancient Rome? It would really give you a perspective, wouldn't it? I wonder if it smells different to the way wine smells now. Yeah. It must have been amazing. Yeah, Tico, for sure. I should make a video about that, actually. I think I did. Now that I think about it, let me double check. But guys, give me a break. I made 1,300 videos on the main channel alone. Plus a few 100,000 from the other ones. So, sorry, not 100,000, plus a few hundred from the other ones. But let me see. Metatron Roman Villa. I may have actually made it. Let me see. Okay, 1 second. I'm pretty sure I did, but I have to see. Maybe it wasn't Roman Villa, maybe it was Metatron, Roman, Pompeii. Let me see. This, yeah. Outstanding discovery at Pompeii. The Roman were geniuses. This is, as you can see, the amphorae, the walls. This is in fact a video. I'll give you a link I'll give you a link in case you want to check it out. But this is a video that I dedicated to this discovery, actually. And there is a lot of interesting information on the video. Believe it or not, it's actually one of the late bloomers, because this video actually did really bad with the algorithm at first. It was horrible. But I see that now it's reached 86,000 views, which is decent. So it's actually pretty good for me. So it's just one of those that you just forget about, and then eventually the algorithm does pick it up. You did see it? Well, thank you, David. Appreciate that. Thank you, Barry Roblox. Hi, Meta. I've been watching you since you had 70,000. Wow. Since I was in middle school, you taught me how to think critically and inspired me to learn Latin. Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that, Barry. Thank you so much for sticking around. Ray Gonzalez, thank you for gifting a Metatron membership. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, Rome was awfully close to us. Well, I don't know how close they were to the Steam engine, but they had some prototypes. I know which one you are mentioning, Cognus. And yeah, who knows? They were amazing. The stuff that they managed to do. Yeah. Thank you, David. Appreciate you try to watch all the videos. Thank you so much. That's a lot of videos. I post a lot. But yeah. I have made, to try and help you out, by the way, what I did is that I made some playlists. And so as you see, I got some new ones recently. So I did core historical videos that the algorithm doesn't notify you about. I literally called it like that. And it's got 24 videos right now, but I'll put more. I made this one because I noticed that when I started doing reacts, people were saying, oh, you don't do regular videos anymore. And I'm like, I do, but you don't get a notification, unfortunately, which is why I have to also do reacts. But I did start this playlist so that I put them in there. And so there is a single place where, I will continuously update it with those videos that maybe will cap at 20,000 views, which means the majority of you are not getting a notification. But maybe you were among those that are like, oh, I liked those videos. And I'm like, I know, it's just that you don't. It is what it is. It's not... yeah, so I have the biblical one, the live stream archive. I've got a few... Oh, this one is unlisted. I need to put it public again. But yeah, so I'm working on the playlists to try and help out. Yeah. Let me see how the health of the connection for the stream is today. Okay, excellent connection. Wow, we got excellent connection, guys. Anyways, one of the videos that I wanted to check out with you today is that there are two videos that I have in mind. And then we have the Onimusha one, but we'll do that one later. Oh my gosh, Ray Gonzalez, thank you so much, man. 20 Metatron gift memberships. You might have hit... Yeah, I think we hit the 700 now. So next stream tomorrow, I'm going to have a braid because I promised it. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Wow. Yeah, wow. Absolutely wow. Hello, Melanie. So good to see you, by the way. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that. All right. So I'm going to get a drink to celebrate Ray. I'm going to get a drink. I'm going to put on a little bit of fireworks in the meantime. Thank you again, man. I really appreciate it. Have you considered... Thank you, Austin Bailey. Have you considered playing the Oblivion Remastered? It's really good. Yeah, I have like 4 or 5 videos on it. I did 3 live streams already on this channel, but the VODs are still up if you want to check them out. It's really good. Yeah, I like it a lot. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to get a drink. I'll be right back. Thanks again, Ray. I really appreciate that. W in chat for Ray. W in chat for Ray. Very generous of you. I'm going to try and not drink the whole thing. Thank you, Cognus, for subscribing on Twitch. I'll try not to drink all of it because I know that these are not good for you, but I think I read a little bit of a kick because I'm sleepy. Today I'm sleepy. I had to wake up early this morning because of an eBay situation with something that it's like my wife got me a very nice birthday present and it's been shipped, but There was a problem with the shipping, so she had to wake me up this morning very early. And for me, it's one of those situations. Mr. Based, I'm glad you got the gifted. I see you in green, so you're a member now. Appreciate that. So yeah, I'm a little sleepy because I'm not used to wake up early in the morning. It's a rainy weather. It's not raining here today, though. Thank you, Cognus. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was my birthday on the 4th and her birthday on the 7th. So we both did... so for her birthday, I got her a Lego set, the Lord of the Rings Lego set, because she loves Lego. And then I got her another Lego after that. And then I took her to the restaurant, Cheesecake Factory. She loves Cheesecake Factory. So do I, by the way. It's pretty good. And then... I honestly don't remember. There was something else. Anyways, that was her birthday presents. Let me fix this. And then for me, she got me a Pentium 3 from 1998, the whole computer, and it's filled with like Doom and Warcraft and Age of Empires and Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 and all the old school games. And so I'm really looking forward to receive it. Really looking forward to it. I will do an unboxing on the gaming channel, by the way. And yeah. Yeah, exactly. I know. It was amazing. Like the memberships, very, very, very great. What's the word? Generous of you, Ray. Always appreciate your support, man. Thank you. Jasper! Man, I know your name. Even I just saw your face and recognize your name, man. Thank you so much, Jasper. I appreciate the membership. Thank you so much. Yeah, Diablo 2 is one of those like really addictive games. I'm never gonna do the Metatron meme going, oh no. Oh no. I don't want to pull up Boogie 2988 on you. Absolutely not. If there is one thing I don't want to lose at the audience, you know what I mean? No. No amount of money, who cares? I'm good. The PC looked sweet. Yeah, I showed you the picture. I can't wait to receive it. I was supposed to receive it today, but it got delayed to tomorrow. Which is why my wife had to wake me up this morning. She was a little panicking. She's like, I didn't want to wake you up, but I think there is a problem with the shipping. So I was like, it's fine. And yeah, so that's the situation. But it's okay. I can wait a day. It's not a big deal. It's fine. I told the guy, yeah, don't worry about it, man. I was actually feeling bad for the seller because the seller had woken up early, but then there was this situation with the shipment. And so he like he had to wait home and then the guy that was supposed to pick it up never went, and I actually offered the seller, because I like to treat people nicely even if I have to lose a little bit, and so I told him, hey, I will pay out of pocket for any inconvenience, like if you had to stay home and you lost an opportunity, I'll just send you some money for it. And so far he said he didn't need it, but I like treating people nicely. At the end of the day, even if I had to send him an extra $100, I would have done it if that kind of makes it a nicer transaction for him. Because at the end of the day, he was very nice. He installed all the games in the computer, very exciting. And I do understand that it's really annoying when you like make time, stay home, and then the guys don't come and pick up the package. Of course, it's not my fault, but it's not his fault either. And so I offered, I'll cover any inconvenience. Just let me know, give me a PayPal, I'll send you the money. Yeah. No risponde ai veri italiani. Of course I do. Overload. Absolutely. Yeah, Boogie. I don't know what it is. Boogie to 988 is one of those OG YouTubers that I used to watch. And actually, when I had like 300 subs and I was scrolling through the YouTube and I was trying to find videos on how do you grow your channel. I mean, that kind of stuff that you do when you are early in your YouTube journey. And I saw all of these videos with these like gorgeous women telling you beautiful, and or like this guy who looked like a California, I don't know, Baywatch muscular guy, whatever the heck. And I'm like, yeah, I get it that you're successful, but I didn't feel like I would fit the mold. But then Boogie 2988 was like, oh, here is how I succeeded on YouTube. And I look at the guy and I'm like, well, he's not like a handsome man. He's not a gorgeous woman. So yeah, I want to listen to him. Maybe I can learn something in the way he speaks. And I actually, I think he gave some really good advice on that original video. So I started following him. And back in the day, Boogie2988 was a wholesome channel. It's just that he went nuts. He went nuts. And yeah, that's just a situation. And honestly, it's a shame. And I think to me, the thing that really, the straw that broke the camel's back was the whole cancer situation. I don't want to go into the reasons, but if you know anything about my personal life, then you'll know why that one is particularly annoying to me. So I just decided, I don't hate him. I don't hate anyone. Well, I hate haters. But yeah, I don't hate him. I wish him well in the sense that I hope that he just improves. I'm going to add that I hope that he finds a little Jesus. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to leave it at that. But I do think that I hope that he finds a way to just change his life and also kind of have those priorities when it comes to just honesty. Honesty, it's the easiest thing in the world. Just be honest. If you go to it, I'm not trying to virtual signal. I'm just speaking like I speak to a brother or a sister, If you go to a supermarket and they give you the wrong change, give it back. It's the easiest way to live life. You're never going to be shamed. Probably you're going to get praised, even though that shouldn't be the reason why you do it. But it's a nice side thing. And then if you do that, and you apply the same logic to everything else, you won't have to worry about lies. You won't have to worry about, I'm going to have to hide this. And what if they figure this other thing out? Just be honest. And your life is going to be like, I'm going to say, at least those problems that come from you will halve them. And so you only have to worry with those problems that are like maybe if you're being given a bad hand, in life, then you only have to worry with those. I think it's the easiest way, and I think people really need to learn that. It's a life lesson that some people just won't refuse to learn. They are all about, well, let me see what I can say to manipulate, and so people think this, and I can make this money, and then I can pretend to be a victim, and then oh my gosh, it's so stressful. I wouldn't want to deal with that. So all I do is, I do go into controversial territory with some of my takes, but they are honest. So I know I don't have to apologize. The only thing I will apologize for if I get a fact wrong. That's a failure on my end, fine. But I'm never going to apologize for my thoughts and my opinions and ideas because they're honest. I'm not trying to manipulate anyone. And that's that. But yeah. I don't know when that happened, but okay. I don't know what happened there on Twitch, but who knows? Yeah, anyways, so that's what I'm saying. I just hope he gets his life together, also because he still has several health issues, and I wouldn't wish those to anyone. And, but yeah. Yeah, compulsive living is a disease. I agree. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Buonasera, Daniele. So good to have you here. How you doing, my man? Thank you for popping by, as always. Yeah. Cool stuff, cool stuff. Yeah, I think fame may have to do, but for me, fame is only a problem if you are the narcissistic type, like highly narcissistic type, because then you think you're the shit. And yeah, I've seen, I hate it when creators are like, oh, you know how many subscribers I have? I've never said that in my life. Again, I'm not trying to virtual signal, guys, but I'm just saying, like cringe, actual cringe. And yeah, exactly, narcissist, exactly. But highly narcissistic types, that can be problematic because then they get an inflated ego. I think having a little bit of ego as a YouTuber is necessary because you point a camera at yourself for like so many hours every day. Everything is me, you, attention. A little bit, it's like it happens. But as long as you keep it in control and you remember, I'm still the same guy that I was when I turned on the camera for the first time, did not know what I was doing, still don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just a guy. So like if I meet someone somewhere, I'm just me. It's not like, oh, but no, you know who I am, I'm a big shot. Nah. And so as long as you keep that one, a little bit of self-centeredness happens. It's just part of the job. But as long as you keep it in check, That I think it's good. But the other category that I think is at risk at having fame get to their heads are young people. So when you get famous and make a lot of money and you're very young, yeah, I mean, I hope that your foundations are solid already before you reach fame, because otherwise, yeah, some people actually it's been detrimental. They may have a couple of years that it's like wow, but then everything goes really badly for them, and I've seen that happen, and I think it's because they didn't have a solid foundation. But it's not easy to expect a solid foundation on a freaking 15-year-old. So yeah, it's one of those situations I think with social media pressure and what it can do. But yeah, it's just one of those. I was gonna say it. I stopped myself. Ray Gonzalez says Hassan. Yeah, I mean, I don't know which Hassan you're talking about. I guess Piker. I don't know, but I mean, political commentators. I would occasionally, with the live streams, I'm fine tackling a little bit of politics, a little bit. But someone who is an actual political commentator, I don't know how their life must be so toxic. Honestly, I don't know if the money's worth it. I am genuinely saying it. I don't know if the money's worth it. A little bit fine, particularly when it's a connection to history. I'm fine. I'm not afraid of speaking my mind. And on some topics, even if they not connected to history, I kind of changed my policy recently, but just for live stream mostly. And I'm like, you know what, I can talk about something if it's in my mind, but a little bit. I couldn't do like everyday politics, and then people getting mad and then toxic. Oh no! Oh my gosh! Yeah, no. I'll try to kind of be happy with what I have. I don't need to have a freaking car. Well, to be honest, if I do become rich at one point, I'm considering if I had the money Elon Musk has, I would have already bought a medieval castle in Europe somewhere. I would have done it already. Fill it with medieval plate armor and actually put the. Ooh, I would do that. I would absolutely do that. Yeah, so maybe it's best that I don't have that kind of money, because I would absolutely buy a castle in Europe. I would buy a castle. Yeah. Oh, him being a narcissist, possibly, and I can understand, because the guy, again, I don't like the guy. I just don't. But objectively, he's a good-looking guy. He's successful, he's popular, and he's rich. So all of that can F with your mind, and I think it did in that case. Oh, I don't know how to read that, Kurt, but thank you. I don't know how to read it. You should totally buy a castle. No, I know. I wish. I wish. Man, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a career choice. A political commentator is a career choice. I'm just saying, I imagine them being like ticking bombs. Like I can imagine being them so on the edge all the time that you'll tell them, do you want chocolate, and they'll tell you milk chocolate, and then maybe I didn't hear it, and I say, what type of chocolate? I can imagine exploding. I mean, like, I told you, like that's what I'm expecting from political commentators, to be honest. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they have different, that's how I would end up being, I think. So it's good that yeah, so yeah. Yeah, you're right, Matt. I mean, you also, another thing you could do is that you could buy a real medieval castle and have it transported to wherever you are. I mean, that has been done. Usually it's cities that do that. Like a city will buy, like there is a fountain that we have in Palermo. It's beautiful. And it's, I'll show you. It's a gorgeous fountain that we have in Palermo. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Palermo, Fontana della Vergogna. Okay, and so it's this one here. It's a beautiful artistic fountain with all of these statues in here. It's a beautiful fountain, and this was originally in Florence. It's just that Palermo bought it from Florence, and they transported it. They removed it piece by piece, and they transported it to Palermo, and they rebuilt the whole thing. So it's yeah, Piazza Pretoria is the area where this is found, and it's an insane story, but it's real. Yeah, 16th century, the area. It's kind of crazy, but that's how it is. So I guess they could do that for me. I could buy a piece of something ancient Roman, you know, and just have it in my yard. How about that? For a decoration. Yeah. Yeah, Fountain of Shame, exactly. It's called like that because all the statues are naked. So that's why it's called like that. But the square is Piazza Pretoria. Yeah, Palermo is Matt has gorgeous places. So if at any point any of you in chat are going to visit Palermo, feel free to let me know because I'll tell you where to go. I'll tell you where to go. Me too, yes. Stonemasons, particularly during classical antiquity, but also in the Renaissance. Absolutely. Yeah, do it now. I don't have the money to buy a castle. We need to do a castle fund. A castle fund, man. Could you imagine, like, crazy YouTuber from Italy who lives in America begins a GoFundMe campaign to buy a medieval castle? I would end up in the news. I would end up in the news. I can already imagine, like, the news, and I'm being a successful campaign, raises $15 million, buys a castle, and I'm there being interviewed by Piers Morgan, and he's like, "So Metatron, tell me," and I'll be like, "Yeah, you know, in life there are priorities," and I can already imagine the situation. And then the guy interrupts me 15 times because I mean that happens, and it's gonna be great. So yeah. Thank you, Ray Gonzalez. If you could get a castle, do you want to be called king, duke, or baron? I mean, if you give me the option out of those three, I think king. Well, duke is pretty cool, though. I gotta say, duke is pretty nice. We'll see. Castle fund. There you go. The first $5, guys, for the castle fund, and I'm gonna keep track. I'm gonna keep track. Oh my gosh, yeah. So that would be really funny. You could have a ravioli-shaped table. Don't give me ideas. I don't want to have trouble in my marriage because of the ideas you get put in my head. I mean, I already have quite a lot of medieval plate armor hanging around and helmets around my house, so there's that. And to be fair, one of the things we liked the most when we chose this house, both the wife and I, is that they actually have columns. We have columns inside and outside the house. And they look really nice. They are white columns, and I think it's a kind of a little bit of a modern architectural connection to that, but they look nice and they're perfect for me because then, of course, if you give me a column, I'm going to put a Roman helmet right next to it. And then next to the other one, I put a statue of Athena, a little statue of Athena. I mean, of course, if you give me a column, what am I supposed to do? What am I, a joke to you? If you give me a column, I'm going to put something classical right next to it. So, yeah, no, I was very happy with the idea that we've got columns in the house. How many columns do we have? I mean, I think in the living room we have 4 columns. And then outside, maybe another 6. So, yeah, I think I own 10 columns. I never thought I would have said this sentence in my life. But I own 10 columns. So, yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Paint them. Okay, so I see where you're going with that. I don't think my wife would appreciate me painting them in the classical Mediterranean style. Maybe not. But yeah. Yeah. We do have a vegetable garden, Tricky, yeah. I do own some land. It's a house, but I also own some land. And yeah, we do have a vegetable garden. My wife, I mean, my wife loves it. She's been planting strawberries lately, and man, we got a lot of strawberry. We got a lot of strawberry. Yeah, strawberries. You're right, Dan the Jedi. I never thought about it, but painted statues are pretty much just giant Warhammer minis. Oh, that's so funny. Thank you, Solitary Wizard. Metatron, have you heard of the Enochian language? No. Does this have anything to do with the Book of Enoch, or am I overseeing? Your dog ate your strawberry plants. My tomatoes are doing well, though. So, our Pomeranian has been considering, but we've been telling him off. Plus he's small, so he can't jump it. But if he could, he would have eaten the whole thing. He has already eaten a couple of strawberries because we gave them to him, and he loved them. So now he's been like roaming around the vegetable thing, but it's enclosed. So I don't think he's gonna manage to do that. Oh, a made-up angelic language in the Enochian magic. Never heard of it. No. Interesting. I didn't say fascinating. I changed it. Ionic, Dorico, Corinthian. They look more like the Ionic type, I think. I don't remember the end, il capitello. I don't remember the end right now, the second, but I think they're a bit more like the Ionic type. Not exactly. I mean, I guess they're more on the modern, but I think those would be Winston. Yeah, Winston, the Pomeranian. Yeah. Good evening, Supreme C. Good to have you here. 1 a.m. over there? Oh, yeah, of course. Now it's 1 a.m. Man, time flies. I've already been live for We've been together for 1 hour and 35 minutes. Feels like I started 15 minutes ago. How is that possible? Thank you, Ray. Oh, wait, sorry. You want Roman, so it'd be Rex, Dux, or Baro. Yeah, Rex, or maybe Princeps at this point. Let's make it Princeps. Why not? Time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, spooky how time flies when one is having fun, yeah. All right, so I'm going to put this to the side. I'm still reading chat, of course, but I don't want to check out. So we've got a couple of videos. For instance, did you guys... So, I don't know if you know this, guys, but I've, a few times during live streams, I've reviewed the work of a fellow content creator by the name of Xiaoma, Xiaoma New York. And again, he's fun. Sometimes a little cringe, but so am I, so I can't really complain about it. Anyways, he made a video not too long ago where he went into this facility where you had a bunch of monkeys, and he said that he was trying to learn the language of the monkeys, and of course the title was Monkeys is Astonished by Me Speaking Their Language Fluently, and I'm like, oh gosh, facepalm. Well, he did it again. This time... Oh, my man. So, yeah, Xiaoma 在纽约, Xiaoma, New York City. Dolphin shocked when I speak their language. Look at the face of the dolphin. Listen, I just clicked. I watched a little bit at the beginning, and I'm like, no, I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it. Because I need to... I'm not watching the whole thing, okay? It's long. But you need to give me this. I need to watch a little bit. Because I need to know. Is this a facepalm? Is it funny? Is it cringy? Because with him, it's like it depends on the video. I like his Chinese, by the way. I like when he speaks Chinese and whatnot. But sometimes he said things that I was like, oh, goodness gracious. Anyways, yeah. So let's see these impressed dolphins that are like, wow, you know what? He should have said, white guy shocks dolphins when speaking their language. That's what he should have said. That's what he should have said, but let me have a look. But let's see. I spent weeks training with some of the world's... Sorry. Let's watch a little bit. I need to see it.
I spent weeks training with some of the world's top dolphin researchers to learn to speak like a dolphin in order to see if this pod of actual dolphins would accept me as one of their own. It might sound kind of crazy.
Well, that dolphin was kind of responding to that, so now I'm intrigued. This work.
I mean, it is a little bit crazy.
But dolphin researchers are actually just starting to crack the mysteries of dolphin communication. And indeed, scientists are attempting to communicate with dolphins using their own communication system. So the question is, if I learn their sound, will they talk back?
That sounded... Okay, listen, Xiaoma. 1 second.
The question is, if I learn their sound...
I mean, the dolphin sounded great, because of course he's native. Yours sounded more like a crow. I'm just being real.
So the question is, if I learn their sound...
Yeah, that sounded nothing like it. Come on, man. You know better. Where are the tones? Where are the tones?
Will they talk back?
There we
Oh, I love that he responded though. Man, I love dolphins. What is it with dolphins? Look how smiley. It reminds me of Echo the Dolphin. Do you guys know Echo the Dolphin? Do you guys know Echo the Dolphin? We might be playing a little Echo the Dolphin later. Thank you so much, Ray. WTF you said about my mother the dolphin. Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. Who knows what he said? Well, he seems happy. But dolphins always seem happy. So it's kind of difficult to really know. Oh, I love that he responded though. That was adorable.
Or will they just swim away?
Like this, ready?
We'll get back to the video in a second, but first, a huge thanks to Sail.
Huge thanks to the sponsor of the video. Thank you so much. Get that money. Come on.
Now back to the video. Let's go. Before I met the dolphins, I wanted to run my idea by some actual dolphin scientists to see what they thought of it.
How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Dr. Bruck, thank you for making the time.
Thank you.
Of course. Happy to do it.
I don't know. I just had one question, which was, can I speak to dolphins? Is that possible?
I had this crazy idea that it would be possible to speak to dolphins.
Well, I have one question back. What do you mean by speaking to them?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they don't seem really into the clickbait aspect of it, but hey, let's see.
Right. So
To be able to speak dolphin to a dolphin, it's an anatomy problem.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of show you the nature of your problem.
Okay, great. So minute 238, we've just been told that the rest of the video is nonsense. No disrespect. But yeah, it seems like, for what I understand, in order to speak dolphin, you have to be a dolphin. Who would have said? Thank you, Mark. Who wins 50 Frankish Knights or 500 LA? Ooh, my money's on the Knights, though. My money's on the Knights. Always on the Knights. My money's always on the Knights. Let's go.
I sent you some audio samples of my voice to see how it compares to that of a dolphin.
These are called spectrograms.
Right.
And here's you.
Okay.
So this is you speaking.
Try to go a little bit higher. Hello? Higher. And now let's try even higher. And higher. Ah!
This is dolphin. You'll notice they look kind of different, don't
Wow.
they? These are pure whistles.
That's actually fascinating. Oh, goodness gracious. That's actually really, really intriguing. This is the part that I found nice when it comes to the video up to this point. Let's go.
It looks like they're whistling at 10,000.
Yeah, but they're much, much higher, like in a way that you probably cannot vocalize.
Dude.
So I'll tell you, as scientists, we do this,
Yeah.
but we do it with an underwater speaker. And we take
Makes
underwater
sense.
speakers that are pumped into amplifiers, which, you know,
Right.
devices that we can play. And those devices are playing at sampling frequencies above your human hearing.
One of the
Wow.
key principles when we're trying to understand the function of chords is to do playback experiments in which we observe first when certain chords occur, then we develop an idea of what could be perhaps the function, when does it get triggered, and then we would play specific chords and see how the animal reacts to it when it hears those chords.
Fantastic. Why is it so difficult for me not to use that adjective? Anyways, yeah, no, I mean, I guess it's a pattern recognition, I would say. So you want to try and see in what scenarios they use a specific sound. But as I say, if a lot of it's outside our ability to hear, you're going to have to use all sorts of machines to even make the measurements in the first place.
We're usually trying to simulate another dolphin. So,
Right.
And then kind of see what the reactions are. In that sense, we are, if you want, in inverted commas, speaking to dolphins, because we're playing sounds back, we're looking at their reactions, and we get them to call back, for example.
My goal is to see how much I can do with my own body.
I wanted to show off the dolphin sound to Professor Janik, which I had actually...
I love how he jump cut after he said that, because I think the professor said, not much, probably. So he jump cut it to still make the video relevant. But hey, I'll give him this. I always try to be fair, tough but fair. I'll give him this. The sections with the professors, I'm learning. So I can appreciate the video, even if the rest is clickbait nonsense. I can still appreciate.
actually learned from his own research. It's thought to be associated with feeding.
Do you want to hear my bray sound?
That's an easy one, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I need a little bit more work.
So here's some comments on the practicalities of that. So first of all, dolphin hearing is not the same as ours. They are much more sensitive to higher frequencies, and so when you listen to the whistles, they're kind of like squeaky noises that are very fast, and when you slow them down, they're really different to our ear.
Wow.
And the main problem for us making dolphin sounds is that we just can't produce sounds that are in that frequency easily.
So what about human whistling? So if I'm like how high can that go?
The dolphins will look at it and be like, okay. And they just kind of swim away. Like, that's not at all convincing. I mean, here, for example, you've got vocalizations being produced here that probably won't even play. There are aspects of overlap. You know, you've got some options. There's always ways of, I mean, obviously these animals are communicated with every day.
However, you know, dolphins make a lot of sounds in air that are much lower frequency.
Okay.
And the reason then what they normally do. And the reason for that is they are trying to get the attention of people. So it's not just us.
Seriously, wow. They adapt, so they are the ones who are adapting to us, not us trying to figure them out. I love dolphins, now even more, to be honest. But yeah. No problem, Daniele. Thank you for being here. The dolphins must think he's an idiot. Maybe, Melanie. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, but probably if I tried that, they would think I'm an idiot, but I'm not going to try it.
Making sounds back to them. They're also making sounds to us. And so you get that kind of exchange. So
90% of the time, I'm sure they're going to read it as nothing. You've said nothing. You're just a human making weird sounds, which could be the better of the alternatives. The other alternative is that you've communicated something aggressive.
Right.
Whether they react or not, I mean, I can see why you want to do it. You just got to try it out. I'm not sure.
While dolphin signature whistles are probably really well studied compared to a lot of other things, there's still a vast level of stuff that we just don't know yet. And I think the best shot you've got here is...
I don't know if he's worried about this video or if he's bored to death. I'm trying to recognize his body language right now. Maybe he's just worried for the video, because I find what this man is saying very interesting. So, Mr. Bruck, I mean, I just said this man, the professor. I didn't mean to be disrespectful, but you know, I'm a dolphin.
Just to generate your own signature whistle, take the whistles that you know of, and then you have a signature whistle, and then see if you can get them to whistle back their signature whistle in the presence of yours. That would be you talking to a dolphin in the way that dolphins talk to each other. If you repeat your whistle in bouts, you know, do three whistles in a row with less than a second.
You know what's interesting? He just did it too. He just did the whistles. It did not feel cringe because it felt like this guy knows what he's talking about. That's so strange, but that's just how it is. Cognus says, I hate his broccoli hair. Well, look, I never really judge people on their hair because my hair reaches my waist. So at the end of the day, I said at the end of the day again. So, you know, I just say everyone can have whatever hair they want. And if they think that looks good, great. If his wife likes it, great. I mean, my wife likes my long hair. So his wife likes the broccoli. Good for them. Yeah, he knows the language. I agree, Daniele. You can tell that the professor has put like some... Obviously, it's a very different situation from a YouTuber who wants to make a clickbaity video. And it's his right to do it. It's his platform. It's fine. And again, I appreciate that I'm learning.
You know, between them, you will have communicated that I have a signature whistle and I am producing my signature whistle to you.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, I definitely have my work cut out for me. But
good luck to you. Tell them I said hi.
Now, dolphin communication is a much higher frequency than typical human communication. But there is one type of human communication that uses exclusively high-frequency whistles. Called silbogomero, it's a way of speaking Spanish through whistling that's been used to communicate in the high mountains of the Canary Islands for hundreds of years. So, to the great annoyance of my entire family, I spent many hours practicing the unique one-finger whistling system of silbogomero that allows for loud and variable pitch whistling. Do I sound like a dolphin? That I thought would be my best shot for trying to speak to dolphins. So it was finally time to visit Dolphin Research Center in the Florida.
I have to go. Florida? Okay, if I ever go to Florida, I'm going to the Dolphin Research Center 100%. Thank you, Kurt Slavane. You should also go to the Dolphin Research Center. Dolphin masterminds manipulated the hairless species of apes, giving them fish. Yeah, I mean, sure. Why not? They did manipulate a famous YouTuber to make a video about them. So, I mean, I'd say that whatever technique and strategy they're using is working. Yeah. I should try to speak Italian to them. Yeah, but they don't have hands, so they can't do this. Maybe with other species of animals that at least have got paws, something like that. Because otherwise, how can you speak Italian? If you tie my hands, you turn me mute. I need it's one of those things.
Keys, where I met up with their head researcher, Dr. Kelly Yakala. Dolphin Research Center is a nonprofit that rescues and cares for dolphins that can't be returned to the wild.
Love it.
You can visit them at their website, dolphins.org, in person in Florida, or consider donating via the QR code. And I'll also be donating a portion of this video's sponsorship proceeds as well.
That's very nice. We'll give him a W to, okay, I'll give him a like because of this, because I always appreciate that. Because all animals are baby. And I appreciate that, so I'll give him a like for it. Okay.
Oh, hi.
Hey,
how are
nice to
you?
see you.
Nice to see you too.
Nice to see
From what
you.
I've heard, you're the brains behind the operation. PhD from MIT.
Okay, so
You like talk to animals for a living. This is what you do.
We specialize in how the
What happened there? She went, la 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 la. It was cut. What did she tell him? Oh no, I want to see the raw footage. Does he have it for members or something? Thank you, Ray. You are butchering my language, you dirty Terrapocus Dolphin Supreme. Yeah, I mean, sure. I honestly think that whatever sound is going to make, the dolphin's just going to think, look at this. What's this? Like, to them, it's just going to be like, wow, what is this silly human doing? But not a broccoli fan? Sorry, man. It's quite a few people are not broccoli fan here, just so you know. But for me, I'm okay. Anyone can have whatever. Yeah.
dolphins think, how they learn, which includes, of course, how they communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're really excited to have you here,
Yeah.
so that you can see that and maybe talk to our dolphins a bit.
How much do we actually know about how dolphins communicate?
So a lot of people will tell you, if you go on to the dark interwebs, oh, they can communicate telepathically. No, they can't, as far as
A lot of people, Professor, I don't want to, again, you know me, guys, when I say what I think. I don't know, Professor. Do a lot of people think that dolphins can use telepathy? I never heard of that one ever in my life. I mean, I don't know what websites. But yeah, so no telepathy, guys. No telepathy with... can they levitate?
as we can tell. They also think they can beam pictures to each other with echolocation. Not so much.
Okay. You must get a lot of interesting people coming.
Not so much. It means that they can a little. Am I right? It is a fairly common conspiracy theory. Really, Jasper? I had no idea. Man, I missed that one. Levitate, no, but they can float. You win the internet today, Daniele. You win the internet. Interwebs, I don't even know what that is, to be honest. Damn it. I was expecting telepathy here. Come on. Come on now. What's next? The Earth is not flat?
You get all kinds of interesting people. Yeah. Dolphins basically make 3 classes of sounds. There's their echolocation that is used for perception. So that sounds kind of like a creaking door. Then kind of more like kind of. And they can...
Yeah, hers sounded more like it, I have to say. Yeah, that sounds just like it. It sounds just like it. It's like seeing a C2 with an A1 student. It's kind of that situation. Thank you so much, Mephistopheles, for becoming a member of the channel. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that.
They can change it. Their echolocation is amazing. They can see like a 1-inch ball from like 80 yards away.
Really?
When I say see, but I mean by sound.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They can also echolocate inside of you if you're in the water with them. So one of our...
What do you mean, like an X-ray?
Kind of, yeah, well, more like an ultrasound. In fact, exactly like an ultrasound.
It's an ultrasound.
Right? So back in the day, one of our trainers,
love this
Linda
video.
Erb, she found out she was pregnant for the first time
No.
Because the dolphins told her.
by being in the water.
No.
She got in the water with Teresa, and Teresa was crazy interested in her belly and was like scanning her. She's like,
way.
what's going on? The next week she went to the doctor.
Teresa, guys. Never. I mean, that is one way. That's one story for the grandkids right there. Do you know how I found out about you? Teresa told me. The dolphin. Man, you gotta buy a dolphin plushie for that kid. Come on, man. Come on.
Turns out she was pregnant. The second kind is burst pulse sounds. These are the kinds that they use for they're like squeals and blats and growls that seem to carry a lot of emotional information, right? When That could be one, like when they're really excited or when they're not so excited and not happy. Then they also do this thing, they whistle. The part that we know about are what we call signature whistles.
This is their name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Ah.
If you put a hydrophone, which is an underwater microphone, if you put that into...
A hydrophone, guys, is an underwater microphone. Did you know that? Well, now you do. I don't know whenever you'll need that, but that's nice to know. A hydrophone. A hydrophone is an underwater microphone.
Lagoon with a bunch of dolphins, you'll probably hear a bunch of different whistles. And for the longest time, people thought maybe it's kind of a language and they're like words and they're talking to each other.
That's what I thought, yeah.
But they couldn't figure out what they meant. Turns out that the Caldwells, this is the scientists back then, when they took one out for a medical exam, what they heard is that one dolphin would make one whistle over and over and over again. If you took a different dolphin away from their social group, that one would make a different whistle. So it wasn't that these whistles were coding individual objects like chair and table, etc., right? Instead, it was coding their individual dolphin. Here's what this one sounds like.
Wow.
This is basically like the name of each dolphin, essentially.
Yes.
And so it's you can see it's very different.
Very different, exactly.
Where does it compare roughly with human vocalizations? Like where are we?
We're here.
Yeah,
You see where
good
it
night.
cuts off here? This is because of technology. Because our hydrophones and microphones only are geared for our hearing.
You can't do
right?
it.
Yeah.
And so you can't. When you're making
I
sense,
wonder if you can produce technology that is not based on us, but it's based on them, so that it can actually give us the full spectrum. Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah, trying to crack their language, yeah, I guess. And this would be like their signature name. I wonder how they create it. Based on what? Is that like a family name? I wonder. I'm really getting into this.
sounds at them, it sounds very low to them. It's at the lower end of their hearing range. All right, so they're kind of like names. They're not exactly like names, and I want to tell you why. I want to show you about one of our studies that we did. It's called Go Get the Baby. And so what we did, this dolphin is named Marina. At the time we did the study, she had a 3-month-old calf named Windley, and some of our dolphins, actually all of our dolphins, can go get something. That's one of the signals that they have. And Marina learned, go get the baby. And so we can actually ask her, the baby's going to be off in the lagoon somewhere, and the trainer's going to look for times when the baby's far away, and then say, hey, Marina, go get your baby.
And we're talking, your baby, so it's a baby dolphin, yeah.
Got a hydrophone.
What's a baby dolphin called, by the way? What's the word in English? Because a baby cow is a calf, a baby deer is a... I'm trying to think. What the heck is a baby deer? I can't think what a baby... What's a baby deer? Still called a calf? Oh, she called it a calf. Yeah, oh, I see. So a calf is a baby dolphin. Right. Okay. A fawn, exactly. A fawn is the baby deer. Thank you. And then, yeah. Everyone is writing fawn. Fawn. Okay, fawn. That's right. And then, of course, you go kitten, puppy. Those are easy ones. What's a baby elephant? Is it a calf as well? Baby plus deer equals beer. Sure. I mean, why not? Nyarlathotep. Are we going into... what's his name? Koiruka in Japanese. Believe it or not, if you had given me the kanjis, I would have understood it more easily. That's kind of fun. Yeah, calf for elephant. I thought so. What's baby whales are also called calves? Nice. What about a baby horse? Is it like not a pony? Is it a pony? Or a pony is a type of horse that just doesn't grow even when they reach adulthood? I'm starting to get like my own existential questions here about baby. It's a foal, is it? I see. Delphin bébé. That's funny. Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, foal for horse. Yeah, I see. Yes, pony is a specific type of horse. I thought so, yeah. Literally, this stream went from Japanese swords to focaccia to zoology to I don't know. It's all over the place, but here we are. Let's go.
In the water. And so what you see here, and I'll play it for you. Yeah. What you see here is what the sounds are underwater.
Wow.
and she comes back with a kid. The question here is, well, what was she whistling, right?
What was she
We
whistling?
know that this is Marina's signature whistle.
Right.
We know that this is Windley's signature whistle. And when you
Okay.
compare what we know to the actual spectrogram,
Looks Marina, yeah,
you see that
Marina.
Marina was making her own whistle,
Yeah.
which is why I said they're not exactly like names. Because if you walked away saying, Ari, 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 people would be like, wow, he's kind of lost it.
Right.
But that's what the dolphins do.
That's what the
but
dolphin
I guess
do.
it makes sense in some sense that if her job is to locate her calf, presumably her own signature is going to be helpful for the calf.
Exactly, yeah. Maybe they're saying like it's a bit like a come to mummy type of thing. Like you say your own thing, and then your calf is going to recognize it and come to you. No, it makes absolute perfect sense. In fact, I'm starting to think that dolphins are more logical than quite a few of the people that I see in the comments sometimes.
letting her know that, hey, like, mom's here.
Yeah.
And in fact,
Mama's here. Mama's here. Mama's here.
Exactly.
and we had 2 of our dolphins were pregnant, and we recorded the whistles that they made in the few weeks before the calves were born and in the few weeks after. And as soon as the calves were born, the moms started making their own signature whistle a lot more.
I see.
Really?
Yeah, and presumably that was
Wow.
sort of an imprinting thing, like
That's
this is
so
mom,
cool,
this
yeah.
is mom, this is mom, so that they would know. A series of studies that we did was on
Fantastic.
cooperation, how they work together.
Yeah, Jacob, apparently Xiaoma is trying to learn how to speak Dolphin, which in the first 2 minutes and 38 seconds of this video, he was basically told it's impossible, you don't have the biology to do it. But hey, at least we are learning from the experts, so that's pretty good still. I enjoy the video. It's gonna be cringy when he's gonna actually try and do it, but it's fine.
To do something. And so we created a game. And the game was, we had 2 buttons underwater. They had to swim across a lagoon,
Yeah.
press those buttons at the same time, within a second of each other, right?
Right.
And if they did, they win. If not, they lose.
Man, look at them. I love dolphins.
That little jumpy thing they did at the end, they didn't do that on signal. That was them being excited because they got it right.
Oh, I love it. Man, that is wholesome. I love it. Like literally, this is my therapy. This is my therapy. I just find it out, figure it out. Just watch dolphins and yeah. Wow.
The question, of course, how are they doing it? Right? They have to be communicating somehow in order to get that to happen. Now we're going to listen to what it is that they're...
I actually don't think, now people are going to tell me, oh, you're jealous. I'm not. I'm just trying to be technical. I don't think he is a polyglot, because to be a polyglot, you have to be at least highly conversational, like high level in a certain number of languages. I would say 6, but that number changes depending on who you ask, and there isn't a precise definition. Yes, he has a lot of videos when he speaks many languages, but he only speaks like a couple of sentences of those languages. He's not even... So yeah, the language where he's fluent, the language in which he's fluent and very nice level, in fact, is his Mandarin. And he speaks English as a first language. If you want to include the first language, why not? But I don't know how well he speaks Spanish, but all the other languages he shows, it's just for the camera. I've reviewed this already a few times, so I wouldn't consider him a polyglot. And I don't consider myself a polyglot either. And I'm fluent in 4 languages. To me, that's not enough, though. So, yeah, maybe if at one point I actually do manage to, but not that I care, though. Who cares? I don't need the title. I honestly don't care. But I'm saying because the word and the title polyglot, and it's been used by so many people that now it's become like it's nonsense. Like when I hear the word polyglot, I cringe. And then it's so funny that it became so common. Everyone learned a couple of sentences horribly pronounced and said, see, now I speak 17 languages, I'm a polyglot. That people actually started creating the word hyper polyglot. He's a hyper polyglot. What the heck is a hyper polyglot? Come on, give me a break. I'm not saying him. I'm saying in general, to me, this whole idea that look at it, to me, this idea of I'm a polyglot, it just screams, look at me, I'm special. And so it annoys me, which is why I don't claim to be one. And even if I do hit the 6th language in fluency, I will not start calling myself polyglot. I don't care. Like, I honestly, it just annoys me. Yeah, hyper polyglot giga chad, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it.
They're doing. Those squiggly lines up there are whistles.
Wow.
That last one is Delta's signature whistle. Those first two whistles, we have no idea what they are.
Wow. I'm getting.
She's nice though. I like how she's like happy about it. You could see that she's got a passion for it. Okay, so let me see. Let's hear him speak a little bit. In
order to finally meet the dolphins, I met up with my dolphin trainer, Sarah.
So I'm going to take you down today to meet two of my best friends. This is Tanner and Flagler. They were both born here, lived their entire lives here, and we're going to show you some cool stuff with them.
Okay, let's go talk to Dolphin.
All right.
Okay. Oh shit, I'm kind of nervous. I've never seen a dolphin before.
The fish eye lenses, they always make everything look hilarious. So it's kind of funny when it's something is not supposed to be hilarious, and it's the fish lens. I hate fish lenses. And when they are in video games, it's the first thing I remove.
You never? Oh, you're gonna love these guys then.
Yeah.
We have dolphins on both sides.
All right. I want to try to introduce
myself. They sound adorable.
Okay.
That dolphin sounds like my Pomeranian a little bit. He makes those sounds as well.
He's very excited. He's excited. He sees us walking out. He knows we're going to play with them.
Close.
Just making up names. They're going to, like he just did.
Wow.
Okay. Hold on one moment. The first thing we're going to do is invite the dolphins over to start their session. And the way we do that is with their shapes. Every dolphin has a unique symbol. It's like a name tag. So B and I put those in at the same time. Now that's Flagler. He went straight to his.
Wow. Man, I love how excited they are. I absolutely love this. Look at that face. Look at that face. Domesticated dolphins are probably much different. Oh, yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I hope they didn't say anything that is going to get me demonetized, though. Like in Dolphin. I'm sure the YouTube algorithm is going to be able to spot that regardless, and I'm going to get a yellow dollar sign. If there is one machine that is capable of understanding and recording everything, if it's for demonetizing purposes, yeah, I'm getting a yellow dollar sign. And I don't see derogatory language. Like, which language? Or the dolphin? He said you're a mother. That's what's going to happen to me. I know it's going to happen.
Oh,
yeah, get your fillet of fish.
So watch out here, he's going to go for some dives. Beautiful, Tanner. Good boy.
Yeah, good boy.
Have you ever touched a dolphin before?
No.
You're going to put two hands out in front.
Right? Oh, look at that.
Good.
Man, he went
now
like this.
Flagler is going to come over. Flagler
He went
is
like
one
this.
of our loudest whistlers. So I'm going to have you introduce yourself to him, like you did the whistle. We'll see what he does.
Okay.
He doesn't care. Yeah, too low. You gotta go higher, man. We need those high pitches, which are low pitches for them. We need the high pitches.
So did you see him actually sync? There we go.
That's what I'm
So we
talking
have
about.
what we call his signature whistle, which is like his own personal whistle on signal.
Is it me, or when I hear the dolphin do the repeated sound, it feels therapeutic? Like I like it. It's very calming. At least for me. I don't know. Maybe it's just, did it shake its head at him? Maybe. I mean, who knows what the heck he's saying? You know? He could be saying something racist to the dolphin. Then what? I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, so that's Flagler's whistle. Good boy.
Can I try to do his signature whistle?
Yeah, what happens if you do that? He doesn't care. Oh, he's responding. Man, I love it.
Oh my god. Our dolphins are trained to...
I'll have to try that. Like, we whistle a little bit and we get fed. Maybe I could try that with the wife. Maybe I'll get some pizza tonight. That could be nice. Yeah, no, this is nice. This is nice. I love it. I don't watch the entire video because, I want people to be able to do that. But let me see his final conclusion at least. So how was the experience then?
I wasn't expecting this, but my experiment happened to coincide with a moment in dolphin research that's never existed before. For the first time, scientists are beginning to interact with dolphins using their own sounds, and one of these scientists, Dr. Layla Sayegh, just won an award for it. You just won this huge $100,000 prize for two-way communication with dolphins. So you found this call in dolphins that it seemed like it was associated with some avoidance or alarm behavior. And when you played it back to them, they scattered?
Fantastic. She knows a word in dolphin. She knows a word in dolphin. See, all you need to do to get 100K, all you need to do, probably took it like 50 years of studies. But no, that's nice. I love that. Yeah, that's exciting. We're learning animal language. You're kidding. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it works. She's going to explain it to us now, but I agree. Yeah, that is insane. I love it. Decoding animal language. Let's go.
What happened?
Yes.
What happened?
Yes, typically we find that they swim away from it.
That's so crazy.
So, yeah, it is pretty cool. We have had a couple of young males turn toward it and sort of stay in place and just look at it, but not approach, not avoid. But that's something that's also kind of characteristic of young males, is that they tend to be more investigative, more curious.
Wow. So, it clearly means something to them then. It has a lot of unusual behavior.
I would say for sure it means something to them. I would leave the possibility open that my interpretation could be wrong.
Are you aware?
So basically it's like get out of here. Or maybe danger, or what do you think? What's sharks? Maybe we are telling them that it's sharks. Well, I hope they don't sue us, because I don't want it to be one of those situations where you scream fire in a theater, because that's not protected by the First Amendment. So just there's that. They could have a case. We'll have to see. Now, I don't know if the dolphins could find it offensive to be represented by, say, legal eagle, because eagle, dolphin, probably not. But I'm sure we can find some other lawyer that can take care of this one for us.
Of any other sounds in dolphins or other animals where people have identified at least what they think is a plausible meaning of some vocalization and then been able to reproduce the behavior?
I would say probably the best known example of that are the alarm calls of vervet monkeys, and there are a few other primate and bird species that are known to make alarm calls.
It's interesting because it makes sense that probably the easiest sounds to interpret and reproduce are going to be the ones that delineate the possible threat. Makes sense, rather than figuring out how they say it's hot today. But it's it makes sense, because that's the one that you want to make sure that people that they understand, I suppose, for self-preservation. Anyways, this was great. I thought I was gonna cringe more, so I'll give him that. This was a better episode as opposed to the one about monkeys. That that was cringy. This one. Apes freaked out when I spoke their language, and it's just him going basically like every kid does in elementary school. It's the same thing. He's going like a monkey, and then that was cringe. But this one was good, so I'll give him that. I'll say it. It was a good video. I did appreciate that. 999 videos. Come on, man. We need one more video. What is it gonna be? Video number 1000 from 小马在纽约. That would be cool. Very nice. All right, so that was the video I wanted to check out. I thought it was pretty good. And let's, if you want to finish it, since I skipped a whole section here when he was actually using the language, I always suggest people to go click the links and whatnot and watch it. So that would be great. The next video that I wanted to check out with you guys today, I'll double check if there is any super chat first. But I found this on History Hit from 2 weeks ago. And it's not the first time that they talk about Vikings, and it's always a topic that I enjoy having a look at. So there's this one from a month ago, and then 2 years ago. They have a lot of videos on Vikings, but this is the most recent one, and I haven't seen it. Now already on the thumbnail, I see questions such as: were Vikings berserkers real? Were Viking berserkers real? And Yes, but we'll see how she addresses it. Maybe she'll distinguish between the wolf ones and the bear ones, and tell us about the different meanings of the words, that kind of situation. Bear skin in the sense of the skin of a bear, or bear skin in the sense of they don't have anything like armor. We'll see. I'm sure she'll do that. Did the Vikings have slaves? Yes. How accurate? Ooh, I don't know. We'll have to see how she tackles that one. How accurate is Vikings TV series? Wow, what a question. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to see this one. So we're gonna check it out now. But before we do that, I'm gonna go get myself another drink, and I'll leave you with a chair. Don't mistreat the chair, and also chair, don't mistreat them. So let me know if the chair is mistreating you, and I'll be right back, noble ones. Thanks so much. Is it gonna be history hit or history miss? You know what? You know what?
Is it history hit or history miss?
You did that. Be right back. Come on. Hit me with the knowledge, you muppet. You muppet. The chair is an introvert? Haha. Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. Wow. That's great. All right, let's go. So, come on, let's see what we can learn today. Also, I'm going to switch the chat to, let me see. The chair is white. It is. Might be a white supremacist chair. The chair has a lot of charisma. Yeah, it was, during character creation and whatnot. Doesn't need too much strength with me, luckily. I'm not that heavy. Let's see. Whoa, easy there. Yeah, I know. That from Vikings to Normans video might be a good one to respond as well. I'll watch it tomorrow, maybe. Virtual or one of these days. All right, so I'm going to switch the chat to members only for a little bit, and then we'll switch it back to everyone. Always as a way to say thank you to the members. And quite a lot of new members today. In fact, about 32 to be specific. 32 new members today. So, yeah, it's your time to shine. If you have questions, if you wanted to say something, yeah, this is the moment. And I'm going to switch the chat to members in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Muppet. And we just got a Metatron membership gifted by Jasper. Thank you. So, yeah, so the winner is user88 saying racing chair. That's wonderful. And yeah, Jazax, welcome among the noble ones. Well, you're already noble ones. The noblest of the noble ones, let's put it that way. And as we always say,
welcome to the inner circle.
All right, dear members, thank you so much for being here. Let's check this out. Let's see what we can learn. Let's go.
Hello, I'm Ellen.
Ellen of Troy. What's she going to say?
Hello, I'm Eleanor Barraclough. I'm the author of Embers of the Hand, Hidden Histories of the Viking Age. I am a Viking historian, as that suggests, and I'm here to answer, for History Hit, Google's most popular questions on Viking history, and that is also why I am here with props. It's not a children's nursery, I promise. We have Jormungandr, the world serpent here.
Yep.
We have Thor's hammer over here, and here, this is Sleipnir, the amazing mythological horse with, as you will see, 8 legs.
Wow.
So, let's get going.
Let's get going. If you mean to arrange goatee, no, not that often, no. Occasionally.
Right, what is a Viking?
Please.
Okay, so a Viking, literally, if you take that word Viking, there's an Old Norse version of the word, which is the language the Vikings spoke. Vikingur, which means sort of raider or pirate. Yeah. And then there's a sort of related word also in Old Norse. You go on a Viking, you go on a raid.
Yeah.
There's an Old English version, so that's the language spoken by the Anglo-Saxons over in England at the same time. And that's Viking, and that means pirate. So literally, a Viking is a pirate or a raider.
Yeah.
Oh, when were the Vikings? All right, so kind of roughly late 8th century up to at least the late 11th century. So it starts with the raids that we know about. There's a raid on the monastery.
Yeah, Lindisfarne for the silver. I think they were more interested in silver than they were in other precious metals, for what I remember, but you'll correct me if I'm wrong.
Of Lindisfarne off the northeast coast of England in 793 AD. But obviously raids don't come out of nowhere. So we have to take that back in time. There's activity going east that goes sort of back to at least 750. There's early sort of international trading sites in Denmark going back to 700. So 8th century. Okay. What were the Viking countries? Right, so Scandinavia is the...
I really wish she would readdress this thing that people use Viking as if it means the entirety of the population. I really hope she does. That's what I was expecting her to do. I mean, she did classify correctly, of course. She's the expert, but I'm saying even from a linguistic perspective, because just because someone is a historian, oftentimes they mess up the language part. She didn't. So I appreciate that she actually said, Viking actually means kind of a pirate or a raider, comes from this verb and whatever. Great. But, Viking countries, or like the Viking meaning the entire people, is it's not a great way to use the word. It's very popular, I get it. So I understand why, if it's not like a high academic paper, then fine. But you could use it that way. I personally don't like doing that. I just like saying Norse. Or sometimes if it's a Dane, I'll just say Danes. That kind of situation. But Nordic people, whatever you want. It's just saying Viking countries just sounds silly to me. I don't know about you guys. Maybe it's just me being picky.
The homelands, so we're talking Norway, Denmark. What were the Viking countries? Right, so Scandinavia is the homelands, so we're talking Norway, Denmark and Sweden. But the point of the Viking Age, and the reason, well, part of the reason at least it's so interesting, is that they become part of a much broader Norse diaspora. And so, they settle in the British Isles, in Ireland, Iceland, Greenland. They reach the edge of North America, although they don't settle there. They go down the Eurasians.
I think that's pronounced Newfoundland. Is that right? Because the other day I read it Newfoundland, and man, the comments. Metatron is not pronounced. Okay, so I think it's Newfoundland. Am I saying it right? Well, I guess I'll see in the comments.
Steppes and the waterways in what's now Russia and Ukraine. So it's a really broad geographical area, but it starts with those Scandinavian homelands.
Yeah.
Were there Viking women? Well, it depends on our definition of Viking.
Thank
if we're
you.
looking at raiders, that's pretty much a male activity. But if we're looking at the Viking age, yeah, there's definitely women. You sort of need women for any kind of historical era to keep that era going, otherwise no humans. And of course the women are doing really important things like making the textiles that you need for, you know, clothes and sort of ship sails, all the things that you think about as very much characterizing that Viking age world. You've got to be able to travel, you've got to be dressed, you've got to be warm, and you've got to eat. So yeah, Viking age, lots of women.
So the way I would have answered it, I'm not saying that she's the expert. She's the expert. I would have said, were there Viking women? No, but there were Norse women. And then I would have kind of connected that to how the term should be used. But yeah.
What did Vikings really look like? So definitely no horned helmets. That's one of the most important things.
Yeah.
Scrub the horned helmets.
Scrap.
The clothes tend to be quite colourful. So we think of Vikings as being sort of a little bit black metal maybe, you know, in their sort of, you know,
and
moody black t-shirts or whatever it is. But actually, you know, you've got to think of sort of ochres and sort of reds, yellows, blues, greens. It would have been quite a colourful world in terms of what they were wearing. Also hair, big deal. And their hairstyles would be something that would really mark them out as part of that Norse cultural sphere. So there's a brilliant text from sort of around 1000 from England, and it's an abbot called Alfrich, and he's writing, essentially complaining about Norse hairstyles and saying, you know, everyone's copying them and they're all fashion victims and they shouldn't be copying them. And that is very much sort of short and shaved at the back, long and shaggy at the front, and by their hair will you know the Vikings. Why did...
Okay, so let me say something now, because you know me. And I knew that this could have happened, so I'm just going to say it, guys. When the person asked, what did the Vikings look like? Notice that in her answer, the professor addressed the clothing and addressed the hairstyle. She purposely skipped ethnicity. When someone asks, what did they look like? I would answer with all three. But she sounds English. And I have nothing against English people, but I'm saying, I think professors, particularly in the UK, but also in the US, are terrified to address anything ethnic because of possible repercussions and backlash. Also because, unfortunately, there are some groups like Austrian Painters Fan Club that connect themselves to the Nordic cultures. And so now, if someone asks you, what did the Vikings look like? Or what did the Norse look like? The reality, it's obvious. And by the way, I'm making a video dedicated to this, because now that's been challenged in the UK as well. They're going to say, whatever, you'll see. I don't want to... There will be a video soon about it. But you can't say it. They're terrified. They're afraid. And the reason why you could tell me, I think you're reading too much into it. Maybe she just didn't think about it. Or maybe that's not what the question meant. Well, then if the question was about the hairstyle, they would have asked, what did their hairstyle look like? If the question was like about clothing, they would have asked, what kind of clothing did they wear? If they say, what did the Vikings look like? The person wants to know phenotypic traits. And the reason why I think I'm not looking too much into it, I really think categorically 99% I'm right, is because this is not the first time. It's not the first rodeo on History Hit. They had an ancient an Egyptologist and a specialist in ancient Egypt. They didn't have an ancient Egyptian on the sky, I wish. But they had this Egyptologist, and they asked, what did the ancient Egyptians look like? And it was clearly about the ethnicity. And the guy said, well, they looked like human beings. Coward. You're a coward. Not her. That guy, coward. Just say it. So you know what happens? I have to say it. Because they need the funds. They need the job. I have YouTube. I've got you. I've got the memberships. I've got Patreon. I've got the support, the super chats. So thanks to you. I mean, I would do it anyways. But thanks to you, it doesn't matter. I don't have a situation where I'm so scared. Oh my gosh, I can't say that they were white. They were white. Okay? Come on. Could you have some communities in the port areas that had a little bit of extra people from outside? Yes. No one is denying that. They were Nordic. They looked like Nordic people. And that's... and we shouldn't be afraid of saying the truth. Let's go.
Vikings file their teeth. Okay, so not all Vikings filed their teeth, but there is this phenomenon where you see sort of horizontal, usually lines, sometimes little half moons, always male in the Viking Age. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's not a huge number, maybe sort of, I don't know, over 100, maybe 130 odd bodies have been found where they do have these filed teeth. No one knows why they filed them. It's not like it's one particular sort of social group, one particular sort of time period.
Why do you guys think they filed their teeth? So Jasper says, the filed teeth always make me cringe. I hate it. I mean, me too, but then again, there is a disconnection of 1,300 years at least between us and those that did it. So I can see how it might look weird to us, but to them, it probably looked cool if they did it. But why do you guys think they did it? What is your guess? Let me know in the comments. What do you guys... Yeah, I know, Melanie on Twitch. So sad and disappointing. Don't worry, I got you. I got you covered. I'll always say the uncomfortable truths. I'll say it. There should be nothing uncomfortable about it. But we got into a position where, oh, I'm so scared. I'm so afraid to say the word European. Let's delete it. Let's say that the Romans weren't Europeans. The Romans were for Europeans. Just stop it. So it's just one of those things. And yeah, you could be a Roman even if you weren't Europeans, because that's how the system works, although it depends on the era. But yeah, they are very intimidated. And it's just how it is. But anyways, I'm not going to judge it out of one thing. One thing is not a pattern. Also because, remember, History Hit might have told her, don't answer that. It wouldn't surprise me, since this is a pattern on their show. At that point, if you are a guest, I guess you follow the instructions of the platform. I wouldn't. Like, if History Hit asked me, hey, do you want to come on the show? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. But if History Hit asked me, Metatron, do you want to come on the show for an episode? Yeah, sure. Want to talk about Rome? Yeah, I will. These are the questions. But if you get this question about what they looked like, or the ethnicity, or whether people should be proud of European heritage and that kind of stuff, you can't answer. I'll say, okay, I'm not coming then. But we're giving you 2,000 euros. You can keep it. I'll answer with what the evidence provides. If you have a problem with that, don't invite me ever, because I will say it. So at that point, I'm saying, don't call me. At that point, don't say it. Anyways, let's see. So perhaps they filed teeth to denote ranking. Thing is, though, she said it doesn't seem to be a pattern connected to any social status. So if that were the case, then we would have to find more filed teeth, if not exclusively filed teeth, with people of high rank. She just said that doesn't happen. So it doesn't have to do with ranking, at least. Yeah. Maybe dentistry, carving away decay. Maybe, but usually the way I understand it, you would have to do the inside, I think, if you get that kind of... plus, how much sugar did they have access to, really? You know, maybe it's a fashion statement. I mean, aren't there fashion things that we look at and we're like, that is so stupid, and yet a lot of people do it and then everyone copies it? Like, imagine broken jeans. I mean, if you really stop to think, why? Why would you purposely put a hole on your jeans, in your jeans that you paid for, and yet it became a fashion and people did it and then everyone copied it because it makes you look edgy? Maybe just did it. That would be my guess, to be honest. That would be my guess, because it's not like, yes, the ancient past is different, but these are still humans. So, yeah. Kill counts? I doubt it, because there would be a correlation with this is a warrior, and so someone who's not a warrior wouldn't have it. She just said it's males. Yeah, I always thought that there was dumb dream heart as well, but like, and that's just one example. Sometimes we have crazy hairstyles and they get into fashion and then people do it. And, or if you think about it, some of those rappers that put all the gold teeth, and it, to me, it looks too cringy, but it's something that people do. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably just something like that. Someone did it. Everyone thought it was edgy. So someone else started doing too. And it's probably like their way to get the girls. I don't think it's deeper than that.
There does seem to be an association with the island of Gotland. So sort of off the coast of Sweden in the Baltic Sea. It's not like everyone who had file teeth came from Gotland, but you see most of the burials of people with file teeth there. So there's definitely an association.
Could be cultural then. Yeah, like a regional cultural characteristic. You know how you have kilts in Scotland? That's a regional characteristic of a cultural dynamic. Maybe something like that.
But you also find, I don't know, there's a couple in Denmark. There's one in a mass grave from Ridgeway Hill in England.
Okay.
So no one knows.
No one knows.
Yeah, it's a good one. What did Vikings eat? Right. So part of it depends on where in the Viking world you're talking about. So for example, if you're in North Greenland, for example, there's a lot more seals being eaten, particularly later on when it gets cold.
Man, this seal looks like he really is enjoying life, isn't he? He doesn't give a flying... Yeah, look at him. Man, that's, yeah. Sure, he's got the fat to deal with the cold. He doesn't even feel it. He's got the fur and the fat, double F. He's got the mustache. Nicely organized. Yeah, I mean, look at him. He's great.
And there's reindeer being eaten, but obviously if you're in, say, Iceland, no reindeer. There's enough seals. On the Faroes, they seem to be particularly keen on pigs. So you have tons of place names linked to pigs, which suggests that they were keeping them.
Bacon. The Norse were into bacon, guys. I can see that.
But yeah, it depends on location. Fish, weirdly enough, so for example in North Greenland, there's not that much evidence that they were eating fish. But in other sites, absolutely they are eating a lot of fish, particularly if they're obviously living near the coast. So you've got to think, there's a mixture of sort of, they'll be hunting wild game. And again, that depends on where they are. Again, North Greenland, they try to grow sort of cereals early on, but it's really too cold. So
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the farming aspect of it, it's probably the igniter for the raids. Although then again, it depends. In the Nordic countries, I read that there are some areas that are farmable. But in comparison to, imagine, Italy, southern France, I mean, the difference is massive. So, no, I can see that 100%. Also, when it comes to the idea that they didn't find much evidence of fish in the diet of people in Greenland, of course, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. We don't know if it's just that it just so happened that we didn't, maybe they did it. Because I wouldn't see why. Why not? Just fish and get the food. So maybe it's just, I mean, we don't know. But sure. I wouldn't take it as a definitive statement. That's all I'm saying. You would need something stronger, like, for instance, them telling you in the literature, in combination with the fact that you don't have findings, then in the literature they actually tell you, oh yeah, we don't eat fish because... whatever this reason, whether it be ritual, whether it be religious, whether it be whatever the heck, we like meat, we don't like fish. And then even better, if a nearing population, like someone on the other side, like someone in Sweden told you, man, those people in Greenland, why don't they eat fish? Then you can actually make a statement. It happens a lot like that when it comes to continental stuff, since everything is so close. That's one of the ways why, for instance, you know how Julius Caesar, well, Caesar, when you read it in ecclesiastical pronunciation, it's Caesar, but when you read it in classical pronunciation, is Caesar. So the S is a S, and then the rolled R, stress at the beginning, C like a K, Caesar. And the way you reconstruct that is, of course, through as much evidence as you can within the Latin world, and there is plenty, but also surrounding cultures, because that name was spelled with the letter in Greek that is pronounced like a K, so already that tells you, well, if it's the sound they are hearing, the ancient Greeks, as they hear the name. And likewise, in Germany, even today, you say Kaiser, which is not the exact same as in German is a Kai, and in classical Latin is a Kae. So it's not exactly the same, but you can absolutely tell, well, yeah, that's the sound they heard, and they adapted it to their local Germanic languages, and this continued and maintained, in fact, a higher degree of linguistic conservatism, particularly in comparison to modern Italian, where instead the sound is shifted into a ch now. Maybe not in northern Sardinian dialects, they do maintain the k sound. In fact, even though in Italian the word for 100 is cento, in Latin it was centum, and with a nasalized m at the end. And in northern Sardinian it's centu, so they actually maintain the same sound. In fact, it is the closest language to Latin is Sardinian, but specifically the dialects in the north. So yeah, anyways, I just went into a better than bacon. Probably not.
Most Norse Greenlanders really wouldn't have seen bread most of the time, or porridge. So you've got to think about the area, you've got to think about the time period. But yeah, and in terms of what they would have drunk, probably sort of, beer and occasionally wine, but beer and mead and milk, that sort of stuff.
Love it.
Cows were a big deal. They really liked their cows. So what were Viking houses like? They varied. So you've got prosperous chieftains, you've got these like bigger farmhouses, that sort of stereotypical Viking idea with the sort of fire in the middle, benches on the side.
Man, I love this. Oh, wouldn't you want? This is Valheim 101, by the way. That's exactly what I do every time I play Valheim. Fire in the middle. Given, I usually put some wood on the floor, but that's just me. And then you got the round shields, yeah, totally. And these are actually pretty nice. An axe, why not? An iron axe, yeah, we like that bearded axe, just in case, you got someone knocking on your door and you just want to show them who's boss. And then, I love this. This is great.
Rooms off to one end and another to like keep the animals, or where you can go to sleep, or where you can store food. But then sort of if you're up in the Arctic, it's much more almost like hobbit holes. If you go to North Greenland,
really?
So they have to have really thick walls. These are really cold winters. So yeah, and over time, again, it changes. So you start to see sort of more smaller buildings for specific functions, kind of being siphoned off from the main hall. But again, yeah, you sort of, southern Denmark, you've got something that's more like a little village system almost. If you're up in Iceland, it's more isolated farmsteads connected.
See, when she's allowed to actually speak and express herself because she's dealing with a topic that isn't controversial at all and she doesn't have to be worried, the explanation is fantastic. I wish we could do that in academia with everything. That is my wish, because this is great. And by the way, wouldn't you spend a night in that? What time are we? So 7:27, so I don't forget, but I need to look at that again. I'm sorry. I need to look at that again.
Like an idea with the sort of fire.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you want to spend like a week in a place like this? Maybe in summer, because I'm a Mediterranean man and I don't want to die. So maybe in summer. And then I'll leave the cold winter to the badass Nordic people among you. With that being said, man, I would love this. I'm going to play some Valheim tomorrow, guys. Whether you're there or not, it's up to you. I'm playing some Valheim.
It's more isolated farmsteads connected.
Cozy.
Part of that's to do with just how fertile the land is, how much land you need. So it's really variable. Okay, did the Vikings only bathe on Saturdays? Well, okay, so this is a really cool one. The Old Norse word for Saturday is laugardagur, which means sort of bath day or washing day. So there's definitely that association with frequent bathing, but Saturday bathing as well. When you get into Iceland, of course, you have those lovely natural hot springs. And so I'm not sure whether it would have just been on Saturdays, but for example, when the country converts to Christianity in around the year 1000, where they convert, there aren't any hot springs. And so everyone says, well, no, we're not being baptized till we're on our way home because we know where the good hot springs are. Thank you very much. So there's definitely, this idea of Vikings.
Baptizing in a hot spring. The Norse can rock it. Like the Norse are rock and roll. Absolutely. Yeah, castle fan $5 right now. Yeah. Let's keep track of my castle fan, guys, because we got to buy a castle here. Castle fan $5, guys. So if you do a super chat and you want it to be directed to the castle fan, do specify, because we are actually making it. Baptism in a hot spring. Beautiful.
Being sort of dirty and matted is absolutely not true. And Saturday was the day.
Saturday.
Did the Vikings have slaves?
Go.
Yes. And they often were slaves, yes. So the sort of enslaved population of Scandinavia, it's crazy. It's been estimated around the year 1000. It may have been 20 to 30% of the population. And we're not just talking about enslaved people that have been taken on raids, although certainly that's true.
Yeah, you could buy them.
A big proportion of, for example, the early Icelandic population that are enslaved peoples who've been brought from the British Isles and Ireland.
I was going to say Irish, yeah, for sure.
So that's definitely the case. But there's all sorts of other ways you could have ended.
Hey, look at that. They enslaved the queen, the queen of chess. What's up with that? What's up with that? They enslaved the queen of Gambit. Come on now. Seriously.
Ended up essentially enslaved. So if you were in debt, for example, or you might be born into slavery,
yeah, same
you
in
might
Rome.
be very much Nordic and born into slavery.
Right.
So it's complex, but yeah, it's a really, really important thing to bear in mind. There's a huge proportion of the population that's enslaved.
So I appreciate that she didn't say anything weird, because people do when it comes to this topic. And no, she just gave the facts. Plus 1 point.
Why were Viking ships, longships, so special? This was cutting edge technology.
Oh, yeah.
It really was. So you've got the planks, and it's this clinker built style where you have these wooden planks, often oak, for example, sort of overlapping against each other, going up the side of boats.
Nice job, editor.
And that means that they're very flexible. So you imagine them moving in the water, and they're really going, they can sort of cross the waves in a way that other ships might have not been able to do. They're also flat-bottomed, and this is really good because it means they're stable at sea, but they're also able to get into shallow bays, and that might be, for example, when they come to somewhere for trading, but also that's true of the raiding, that you needed to be able to get into places that you weren't expected.
Sure.
Then you've got these beautiful sails, and there's some archaeological evidence, there's also sort of written evidence that you have these beautiful sort of striped, coloured patterned sails.
Look.
And those would have been like amazing, like time consuming to make.
For sure.
Like it would have taken sort of, the equivalent of its sort of 2 years labour to make one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they were proud of their own workmanship and craftsmanship, 100%. It's phenomenal.
Of these sails, for example, for an individual. Obviously, you're doing it collectively. And when I say an individual, I mean women. So again, without women, there is no Viking Age. There are certainly no Viking ships. But they are special. They are really...
Hey, I think you said the sails rather than the ships. I think the ships were built by men. But yeah, sure, I'll give you that without the sail. What is it called? What do you call it? The actual fabric. Am I saying it right? I don't know if I'm saying it right. It is, yeah. It looked a little bit like scale armor of ships. I appreciate that.
Really special, very beautiful. How did Viking?
Yeah, same for men. Exactly. You could say the same for men. There are no boats without men. Like it's a contribution. It's both. They're both doing their part.
Vikings navigate. Okay, so a mixture of ways. Part of it seems to be through oral information that's passed between sailors passed down generations.
Sure.
So you will get, for example, in the Old Norse sagas, you'll have quite protracted descriptions of where an expedition goes and what the land looks like and what direction they go in as they head down the coast and what's there. So there's a lot of oral information being passed. They also would have been very aware of their environment. So, by the...
That you can say, I think, all the way down to the prehistoric period. I think that's one thing that we lost, as far as I'm concerned, because we drive everywhere, and now we use technology all the time. They are constantly dependent on the Google Maps, for instance. If you just, I don't know anything. Around the area where I live, never mind. I haven't got a clue. But people like in the Stone Age, they must have known like the details of those hooks and places and hidden areas in the forest and recognize or their ability to orientate and find their way, pathfinding and all that. It would have been incredible. Yeah. Let me see the other sections. So she's got... it should tell me, right? It doesn't tell me? I thought it would say it. Usually when I navigate, it has these don't have titles. That's strange. Because I don't watch the whole video. But anyways, let me see. So we know how to navigate. What's next one? Let's see.
Right. Were all Vikings raiders? Okay, so if you take the definition of Viking, Vikinger, raider, yeah, Viking means raider. So they are. But, of course, not everyone in the Viking age is a Viking in that sense. They're not all raiding. And even if you are a raider, you're not going to be doing that all the time. So that's really important to say.
Right.
Most of the time, you're probably going to be farming.
Yeah.
And doing other sort of slightly less dramatic things with your time. Occasionally, you get people in the Viking age who are actually called Viking. That's their given name. So you might be called Viking and you've never actually done it. So yes, if you want to stick to the strictest definition, and no, if you're talking about the Viking age as a historical era. What was a Viking? Oh, a Viking berserker.
Let's go.
I love the berserkers.
Let's go.
If you've ever seen the Lewis chess pieces, and they're sort of from around 1200, so they're quite late in the period we're talking about. My favourite...
Oh, yeah, the one that is biting the shield. Look. Yeah, that's a berserker biting the shield. There is more than one actually doing that.
They're these little characters who are holding these big shields and they're biting them. You can see their little front teeth coming over the top. And they've got these like wide eyes. And this is a berserker. And so berserkers work themselves up into this battle fury by biting down on their shields. There's a brilliant story in one of the sagas where there's a berserker who's trying to pick a fight and he's biting down on his shield. And so the person he's about to attack just looks at him rather coolly. I like to think it's sort of Indiana Jones style, kind of raised eyebrow, and just then kicks his shield. And of course, it just goes up into his mouth. And so, but the thing is, Viking berserkers are part legendary. It's very much something back in the depths of time, and this idea that maybe it's linked to them wearing sort of bear shirts, or but it's this idea of this sort of this kind of unhuman or battle fury. By the time we get to sort of like later centuries in the Viking Age, they've been banned, and they're generally seen as like a little bit sad. It's like, you're still into that.
To say though, it is even in just like in English, you can say bear skin to mean the skin of a bear, or bear skin in the sense of naked. In Old Norse, you have the same sort of overlap of the words, like both meaning, it could mean both. And to me, I think it could mean both, because people have speculated maybe it means one, maybe it means the other. I think it actually probably meant both. It could have meant both. Like they're bare skin in the sense that sometimes they're bare skin, so they don't wear armor because they're nuts. And then, but it could also mean that they wear some bare skin actual on themselves. It could have meant both.
But yeah, go see the ones, the Lewis chess pieces. They're so cute. They've got like shades of Nog in the Nog, if anyone's a fan. And Nog in the Nog actually that style was based on the Lewis chess pieces, which I think is an excellent thing. So they're slightly cartoonish.
Only a woman, when asked about berserkers, would find a way to say the word cute in it. Yeah, I love it.
What weapons did the Vikings use? All right, so kind of swords, axes, spears, bows and arrows, that sort of stuff, knives. The saga stories are great on this because sagas are sort of, they're they're based on oral traditions, and they're sort of written down in Iceland from the 13th century onwards. But
I was going to say that. So it's like it's posthumous. So when you read the sagas, it's great, but they're already Christianized. So you also have to imagine there is a message. And I'm not saying that we can't believe the sagas. Of course we can, but it's about a long time ago, and there is a Christian filter to it. So when it comes to the sagas, again, they're great, but you have to, it would be nice if we had something written from exactly the Viking age, wouldn't it be? I think it would be great. Jasper Owens, thank you so much for gifting a Metatron membership. I really appreciate your generosity. Thank you, man. All right, let's go for the spears.
Tell of those earlier centuries and sort of the core of the Viking age. And when they talk about weapons, you know, they're these beautiful sort of works of art. They're often sort of given names, or they have sort of magical qualities. But sometimes if you want to prove how really cool you are as a warrior, that time comes when you've been stabbed by one of these weapons, at which point the coolest thing you can do when you're about to die is look down and say something like, oh, I see they're making the blades in the French way these days. You know, it's like the ultimate burn before you sort of go off to Valhalla, meet Odin. Just say something nice about the weapons.
So just to add to that, since you didn't dwell on the weapons much, all the weapons she mentioned, absolutely, but the sword would have been the most expensive, whereas I would imagine... Also, she didn't mention axes, did she? Maybe she did. But of course, axes would have been a thing, the Dane axe, for instance. But I think the most common would have been the spear. We usually don't see that in representations of Vikings in media and video games. It's always either the Viking swords, or the Norse swords, should we say. Again, I should say the Norse, in fact, Norse warriors and whatnot. Or we see always axes. I think spears would have been more common because they are the least expensive and most effective. And then probably axes. And the sword would have been something expensive for the successful raiders, for the wealthy people, for the noblemen. Like something you wouldn't have, like everyone has a sword in the Norse great heathen army, for instance. Yeah, not to mention, spear, Odin's favorite, you were saying, Jasper, and also the reach. And then again, you just need less metal to make it and more wood. So it's objectively easier to produce, and therefore it's cheaper. And it's easier to arm more people. Yeah. So what's the next question?
Viking sagas real? Okay, that is a really good one. Sagas are a mixture of real and not real. So they're on that sort of hazy borderline between, these are real characters or real people who existed, who are people's ancestors.
Yeah.
But then or kings, you know, Norwegian kings, particularly Danish kings. But then on the other hand, you've got dragons and you've got zombies who come back to life, and sort of things that we would not think of as real in that sort of pure historical sense. Basically, saga comes from this...
Depends who you talk.
Old Norse word seia, which means to say or to tell. And the Viking sagas have these long oral origins, and they're sort of passed down the generations, and then they end up being written down. But so what that means is it's really hard for us. We don't sort of have a kind of that sort of oral culture in the same way. It's us to sort of say, it's hard for us to say, oh yeah, actually there are elements in here that are historically real.
Yeah.
Even though, for example, the Vinland sagas, these two sagas, the saga of Eric the Red and the saga of the Greenlanders, they describe the voyages from Greenland under Leif the Lucky and sort of Eric the Red's children to the edge of the North American continent, this area they call Vinland. And actually it's the sagas that were the basis for archaeologists finding evidence of these voyages on Newfoundland in the 60s. So there's definitely truth there, but there's also dragons and zombies. Okay, what religion were the Vikings? There isn't a word for religion in the same way that we think of it today. There's this word siðr, which means sort of custom, ritual, behavior, but we have to think of religion as being something that sort of encompasses the whole of your existence and sort of your behaviors, your beliefs, your way of interacting with the world. Now, we think of sort of the pre-Christian Viking religion as sort of Old Norse, and it's it's the sort of cosmology and the sort of the mythology
gods
that we know from. It's like gods like Odin and Freya and Thor and tricksters like Loki and things like the world serpent here, Sleipnir with the 8 legs, Thor's hammer over there.
Yeah.
So things that we're actually very familiar with. But then there are other things that we might not be so familiar with in terms of, religious beliefs, religious practices. There's belief in land spirits, guardian spirits, local spirits that you might leave offerings to, that you hope that will protect you and your family. Different gods.
Very common throughout the whole planet.
You might worship depending on the reason you need to sort of pray to them. So Thor at sea, for example, Freya if you're pregnant. So it's a whole worldview. It's a whole cosmology and a way of being. But sort of late 10th century, around the year 1000, we see a sort of official process of conversion to Christianity in sort of the...
Yeah, before she jumps into the Christianity, I would like to say, though, I'm not sure, I loved the presentation, but I don't know why everything she said sounds just like religion to me. So I don't know why she was like, not sure if I would call it religion, and then she ended up going into a whole series of things that sound very religious to me. That sounds exactly like religion. It's an ancient religion, but it sounds I didn't hear anything that would be like, oh, but this wouldn't really be classified as religion because of this X and Y reason. Either it's more philosophical or it's more, I want to say like scientific, or it's more naturalistic. And everything she said sounded exactly like I would consider religion. So regardless of the perspective, to be honest, so I'm not sure why that's, it all sounded just perfectly fitting for the word religion. Jackson Crawford is hands down the best in Norse studies. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's the guy I ask, the professor. I ask whenever I have a question and I'm making a video. He's always been very kind in the sense that he said, yeah, feel free to ask me anything. So if I don't know something, I ask him directly. That's what I do. Just to make, since I'm not a specialist of Old Norse nor, the Nordic history. And so even though I study it, sometimes I do ask him if I'm not sure about something. Right, so they convert to Christianity.
Norse world. And so that's really important too. It's, it's not like suddenly the Norse or the Viking Age comes to an end when Christianity arrives. And in fact, there's a lot of Christians, for example, living in early Iceland, so in the sort of the late 9th century, mostly because they've been taken from the British Isles. They've come from that context where there's also already a lot of Christianity. And then you get some people who sort of are said to believe in, I don't know, Thor at sea, but the white Christ on land. So again, it depends who you're hedging your bets with at a particular time.
Did you say white Christ? I'm surprised. Careful. You're in England.
When did the Vikings invade England? Okay, so the first major raid on Lindisfarne, 793 AD. It's a good thing to anchor ourselves with. It doesn't mean there wasn't violence. So a couple of years before then, Isle of Portland in the south, 3 shiploads of Scandinavians turn up and they kill someone there. So it's not cut and dried, but we start with these hit and run raids all around the coast of sort of Britain and Ireland. And it's
probably very profligacious in terms of actual monetary gain, because it would have been expensive to do these up to a certain point and dangerous, organizing it and everything. But then I'd imagine they made a lot of money profit-wise. Hey, Lady Jennifer, welcome back.
It's not until several decades later that we start to see what we might think of as an invasion, where these bands of sort of fairly mobile military units arrive. And this is sort of, in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, it's 865, and the Mitchell Harnahera, the Great Heathen Army. And they arrive...
I have a board game where you play with the Great Heathen Army, and then one player plays as the Anglo-Saxons and the other one plays as the Norse, and you can even do allies. It's a pretty good game. Viking 787, I think it's called, 786, I don't remember. It's pretty good though.
Sort of, from the east across the North Sea, and Anglo-Saxon kingdoms start to topple. So, East Anglia goes sort of, they're heading up the country, down the country. Eventually, the only kingdom that's left is sort of Alfred the Great's kingdom in Wessex in the west. And they sort of battled to a stalemate, and eventually, sort of late 870s, they signed a peace treaty. And this peace treaty doesn't say the Vikings are going to leave. It says they can take over part of the country in the east and the north that we now think of as the Danelaw, although that wasn't used until a bit later.
Right.
And so then we start to see settlement. We start to see families coming in. There's 876. There's in
876. There you go. Like my board game. Love it.
Saxon Chronicle, when the Norse reached the kingdom of Northumbria, sort of in the north of what's now England, it says they proceeded to plough the land and support themselves. That's really important. It's at that time that we start to see sort of that movement from hit and run raids to a military invasion to settlement.
Fascinating. No, very good, actually. I have to say, I appreciated the video. I'm just checking. I wish I could see what the next questions are, but in general... Oh, how accurate the Viking TV series... Okay, so she goes into the whole movie. I could continue on a separate video and just finish it off if the original goes well, but up to now, I'd say, yeah, no, it was a good presentation. I actually enjoyed it. Just wish she could have answered some of the questions that, unfortunately, it's probably not her fault. So I understand. But yeah, no, pretty good. What did you guys think? I thought it was pretty good. I've seen much worse, let me tell you that much. So, man, that's a thumbnail right there. Look at Anyways, let me open chat to everyone again. Let's welcome everyone again. Everyone is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Muppet. And the winner is Thunderwing, as always. Golden medal to Thunderwing with his K. Silver medal to Cassius with A. And bronze medal to Meow Master Zombo. Hi. But I'm still going to say hello to Melanie and all the others because you guys are great. But yeah, no, fantastic, guys. It was pretty good, and I liked this one. It was a good episode. It was pretty nice. I'll give him that. This was quite fun. No, yeah, after I watch this, I really need to play some Valheim. And I'm thinking of... Because I wanted to go live yesterday night, but I was so sleepy. And tonight I'm going to be sleepy again because I had to wake up really early this morning because we had to go and get the car serviced. We had to go to the... man, I don't remember the name. Anyways, the place where they service your car. So we had to go there. And yeah, so we had to drive a little bit. But no, this was a good video. Of course, it was fascinating because that's the only adjective I know. But, you know, as I'm saying, yeah, so this morning I had to wake up early and I imagine I'll be very sleepy tonight. If by any miracle, dealership, thank you. If by any miracle I'm energetic tonight, I might go live later to play some Valheim and some horror games. But if you don't see me live on Twitch, it means I'm sleeping. But yeah, one of these nights, I'm absolutely going to do that. The car doctor. I mean, what a show. Yeah, no, one of these nights I'm absolutely doing that. But I think for now, I'm going to call it a night. It was a good stream. We had a good time. I have to say, for a stream that wasn't planned, we got some really, really nice items of conversation. So that's thanks to you, of course, and all your prompts that are always great, guys. Thanks so much. But I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go get some dinner. And then maybe I'll see you back later. Or I'll see you again tomorrow. W stream as always. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Shinigami Max. As long as you guys enjoy it, then I think I'm doing something right. And yeah, can you one day make a video about each century in the Middle Ages? Yeah, that could be fun, actually. That's a very good idea, Lord Vesa. I'll absolutely consider it. Have a good evening, guys. Thank you again for the support, the generosity. 34 memberships. So memberships tonight. So we hit 700 members. So next stream tomorrow, I promised a braid. We'll have a braid. I'll be a little bit of Vegal / Norse, I guess. So we'll do that tomorrow. And same time, 5 Central Daylight. And have a good night, Melanie. Same to you. Thank you, Vote Charles. Thank you. And I will see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you very much. And yeah, the next goal is going to be 800 members. That's, man, we're going to hit 1,000 soon if this continues like this. Always thanks to you and your generosity. All right, guys. Have a good one. Good night. Thank you for being here. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao.